Okay, the time is 6:32 p.m. Welcome to the February 10th, 2026 regular meeting of the Stoughton School Committee. This meeting is being recorded by SMAC for future broadcasting. Please rise if you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Excellent. Before we begin, I'd like to read the Stoughton School Committee operating norms. Agree to disagree, assume positive intent, be outcome driven, be prepared, be respectful, celebrate our wins, the district and each other, which is why you're here tonight. Challenge the issue, not the person, have fun, manage time wisely, put students first, resolve the issues during the meeting, speak from one's own perspective, and speak with one voice. Do we have anyone signed up for public comment? Oh my goodness, it's going to be a long meeting. Okay, great. Actually, I'd like to take executive, what's that word? Prerogative, thank you. And do the Project 351 acknowledgements ahead of the student representative, if our student representative is okay with that. Excellent, thank you so much. So I will turn it over to you, Principal Crowley.
Hello, good evening. So I am very excited to be able to speak about Project 351 and our ambassador and nominees who are here tonight. Every year, our faculty at OMS silently nominate students, 8th grade students, to be the Project 351 ambassador. So Project 351, the 351 represents the 351 cities and towns across Massachusetts. Every city and town selects an 8th grade ambassador to represent them for a year-long service opportunity. It's like a year-long service and leadership opportunity. So for this year, for 2026, our Project 351 ambassador is Amanda De Almeida. She's over there. Amanda was selected because she's a leader amongst her peers, and she consistently models our school-wide expectations of respect, responsibility, and readiness. She's extremely kind and thoughtful, and she's a quiet leader in our community at OMS. She's also very involved in multiple clubs and activities, NJHS, OMS Drama Club, Band, and Chorus. Along with Amanda, we have 9 other students who faculty also nominated who demonstrate these Project 351 characteristics of leading with an open heart and mind, demonstrating a strong ethic of service. They're kind, compassionate, humble, have gratitude. They can work individually, but also as a team, and all of these students have a really strong potential for leadership. So we're also recognizing our 9 other nominees, who are Lucas Bellevue, Lynn Sherfain, Genevieve de Moliere, Markenia de Sources, Emily Jardine, Joey Kirkwood, Sharon Lim, Izzy Moskop, and Precious Ogunle. Before we honor and acknowledge all of our nominees and our Project 351 ambassador, Amanda participated in Launch Day as part of kicking off her year of service, and so I know Amanda would love to share a bit about her Launch Day experience.
As introduced, my name's Amanda. This is my experience from Launch Day. Launch Day for Project 351 was a day I will never forget. I got to be inside historic and revolutionary buildings, draw inspiration from speeches by leaders, and make a difference in just one day. My day started by waking up earlier than I usually do on a Saturday. I had my mom bring me to the bus stop a little early to ensure I wouldn't be late, and we got to experience a beautiful sunrise together. When I got on the bus, I was a little reserved and too nervous to talk to anyone because I'm not the greatest at making friends. But as soon as I stepped out of the bus, I saw the beautiful building of Faneuil Hall, and I was eager to meet people once again. Walking into Faneuil Hall for the first time was breathtaking. It is such a stunning, inspiring building. As soon as I found my seat, my service leader, Tana Bernard, of our service team for Thando Bazana, was really welcoming and friendly. I met 3 really sweet people in Faneuil Hall that I became friends with. I also heard the speeches of different leaders that made me laugh, smile, cry, and everything in between. As soon as I put on my navy blue shirt, I knew from the wisdom I had gained through different service leader speeches that I could make an impact on the world, even if I am just an 8th grader. After the Faneuil Hall service, I went to the IBEW Service Village, and I was able to put together hair care packages, make Valentine's Day cards for veterans, and make blankets for people to feel loved. Following the service village was the JFK Library. Similar to Faneuil Hall, the JFK Library had beautiful and wondrous infrastructure. At the library, I got to hear how everyone else had felt serving in the different areas and the impact that we made. We impacted 25,510 lives in one day. After the ending ceremony, we got to eat amazing foods and we went home. Overall, I had an unforgettable and unique experience on launch day. I'm so grateful to have been chosen for the 2026 ambassador, and I can't wait to make an even greater impact in the future.
You get to get recognized now. So we want to congratulate you, Amanda, for being this year's ambassador. Thank you for sharing your great day with us. And here's a little certificate that Ms. Crowley will sign for you. And with that is also, thank you to Mr. Ford and others, is also our kind of a cool little, Stoughton Public Schools water bottle. Keep everything nice and cold. And we want you to have a great year, and thank you for representing us.
Thank you.
You bet. Yeah, quick. Awesome. Congratulations.
Sorry.
No, okay.
That's all right.
Okay.
Do you want to read them off, and then I'll just give them? Yeah, they need your signatures too. So you can read them off and sign.
Okay, Emily Jardine. Come up then.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Sit over right here, so you can be right between us. Congrats.
Thank you.
You bet.
Lynn Sherfain.
Congratulations. Perfect.
Oh, wait.
Don't go that way. Go over here. Just over here. Stand right between us. We won't hurt. No. Stay right here. Picture time. Picture time. Here we go. Picture time. Thank you.
Precious Ogunlay.
Congratulations. Congrats.
Sharon Lim.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Markenia DeSorsis. Izzy Moskoff. Geneviève Demolier. Lucas Bellevue. And Joey Kirkwood.
Great first name. Just real briefly, on behalf of Stoughton Public Schools, thank you, families. To have your kids recognized for something like this is, I think, something special. It's beyond the grades. It's beyond everything else. It's really just about the humans that they are becoming, and part of that goes to your support and what you do at home. So thank you very much as families for being with us tonight. We're going to step up for a quick picture.
School committee members would also like to congratulate all of the awardees. We look forward to seeing your continued leadership as you complete your 8th grade and move on to Stoughton High School. And a voice of appreciation to all the parents and guardians and friends who made this possible. This takes a lot of support in shuttling kids back and forth, making sure they have the supports that they need to succeed and to follow their dreams. So thank you all for supporting them the way that you do.
Yeah, you can use that mic. You can do it from there, or you can do it from the seats, wherever you want.
All right.
It's up to you.
All right. Thank you all for your participation in that. I'd like to move back to our agenda and our student advisory representative, Faith Secundayo. Nope, not yet. There you go. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Faye Secundayo, and I'd like to take a moment to share some updates and events about what's currently going on in Stoughton High School. To start off with, a group of student council leaders will soon be attending MSAC Student Council Leadership in March in the Cape Cod. This event provides opportunity for students to engage with their peers from other schools, develop key leadership skills, and collaborate initiatives that they can bring back to benefit our school community. It's an opportunity for personal growth and just like to be able to find out more about how to be a leader in our community. Stoughton High does a good job of like providing a lot of like opportunities to go and do like hands-on skills. Like DECA, they have an overnight trip in Boston. HOSA, they have a competition coming up as well. A couple of weeks ago, we had our 8th grade showcase. It was designed to like help these 8th graders feel the school environment and to start thinking about various ways they can get involved in the high school. During the showcase, many clubs had the opportunity to highlight their activities, recruit new members, and demonstrate the wide variety of opportunities available at Stoughton High. Whether you're interested in like arts, sciences, community service, or even athletics, there's something for everyone to do in the school. It was very encouraged that all students take the time to explore these groups as they provide a chance to get a sense of a new community since they're coming from a different school. And lastly, with the senior class, we're doing like a fundraiser to help fund for events like prom and like other senior activities. And we're selling our class t-shirts. And that's it.
Any questions for our student representative tonight? Yes. Microphone, please. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Can you think of any other educational classes you would like to take or would like Stoughton High School to offer?
Well, I'm graduating this year, but if I could go back and take another class, they're doing a HOSA class next year, which could like help if you're into like the health professions. There's also a HOSA club. It would just like help build your skills that you can bring into like competitions and like obviously and like try to like place in these competitions.
Okay. And the second question about activities. Any additional activities? I know Stoughton has a lot, but I was wondering if there was something that you felt was missing.
I feel like Stoughton does a good job with the activities that they do. Like a really big one is DECA that I feel like it's like a really big activity that our school does help with.
Thank you.
Ms. Powers?
Hi.
Hello.
I'm wondering, I'm not sure if you even knew that we're considering redoing the homework policy, and I'm wondering if you've had a chance to look at it and what your thoughts were on it.
I didn't know that we were
like trying to reconsider the homework policy, so I didn't really know much
didn't
about
know.
that.
Okay.
Hear about either.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Any other questions? Thank you so much, Faith. That was very helpful. Great update, and a great update for the middle school students to hear. So with that, I would like to turn it over to Principal Crowley again to give us a presentation on what makes the O'Donnell Middle School such a phenomenal school.
Perfect. Thank you. And I think we were having some technical difficulties, but the presentation is in your packet because we were trying to get it up. So, but my name is Katrina Crowley. I'm the principal of the O'Donnell Middle School.
I'm Mallory Bailey, 8th grade visual art teacher and head visual art teacher for OMS.
I'm Izzy Moskoff, grade 8 student.
I'm Markenia DeSources, and I'm also a grade 8 student.
I'm Jean-Viet Demolier, and I'm also a grade 8 student.
I'm Sharon Lim, and I'm also a grade 8 student.
Okay. And so there's a group of us here to tell you about what makes the OMS so amazing. So first of all, a little bit background on middle school. So middle school, we work in teams. So that's a little different than junior high or high school or elementary. The team model is interdisciplinary. So teams are made up of an ELA, math, social studies, and science teacher. And then what we have attached to each team is either a special education teacher or the English language education teacher. So those team teachers of 5 teachers work together. They see the same group of students. So our school has about 780 students. It's a pretty big school, so one way we make the school smaller is by the teams, these communities. So we have 3 teams in each grade, and so these teams of teachers see the same 80 to 100 students. So that's kind of how students identify themselves in middle school. We lean towards social emotional learning to begin with because we're all about trying to figure out how to support students. In their academic work, but also just emotionally. They're going through a lot of changes in middle school. There's puberty, there's hormones, there's a lot happening. There's a lot of growth physically, mentally, emotionally, academically, and during this time. So our team model really helps us with that. One of the things we've worked on a lot over the years has been our school culture and really building it up for school connectedness. So we participated in PBIS Academy, Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports, where we set up consistent school-wide expectations of our 3 R's and also recognizing students for positive behaviors in our community. And so we participated in that academy, how to really make it school-wide, and then after completion, we've been continuing on with that. Izzy's going to share a little bit more about PBIS.
One of the things that we do at the OMS is we value the 3 R's, or respect, responsibility, and readiness. By showing these 3 qualities, you can earn recognition cards. With a recognition card, you can buy prizes such as gifts or fidgets. These cards can be cashed in on Ticket Tuesdays. And we also have Student of the Month, where for each team, 5 kids are chosen, and they get a golden ticket that is worth 5 recognition cards and a certificate, and it recognizes and rewards good students.
Thank you. And you'll notice in your packet there's actually quotes at the bottom of each of the slides, and that's actually, we've asked for students' feedbacks of what they think makes OMS so great. So throughout the presentation you'll see those quotes at the bottom. Those are student responses to what they love about their school. Mrs. Bailey's going to speak a little more on school culture.
So part of what we've really been focusing on with the PBIS and the different teams is building school culture amongst each other and each group. We do that with the nighttime advisory program, which we're going to hear about in a few minutes. But one way we really kick off the year is starts with Hello Week, which is 1 week in September. That is run through the Sandy Hook Foundation, that was created in order to help end social isolation and bullying in schools and really build inclusivity. We spend a whole week celebrating that in September. We do hellograms. We all identify a trusted adult in the building we can go to. We're one of 38 million schools that all wear green on that Wednesday of that week every year and participate in that. It's a really great way to kind of kick off the year. This year we started doing upstanders post that week. So when we talk about how an upstander is someone who says something even when it's a little bit uncomfortable, you know, they see something that doesn't quite feel right and they know. And it's been so amazing. We've had an influx of new students and just watching everyone invite them to come sit with them at lunch this year. And we've been really recognizing them throughout the year with a certificate and a Starts With Hello sticker for their Chromebooks that can kind of go out and help them all remember what we're all here for and kind of making sure that everyone's included. But Sharon's going to let you know a little bit more about the nighttime advisory that we have every day.
So during nighttime, students meet with their advisors every day, and they have like daily activities like creating cards for seniors. And what we've currently done was doing door decorating for Black History Month. And yeah.
Yep, and then through the 3 years, they focus on the career and college readiness program that we've been building into advisory with the help of guidance. So they're identifying their likes and their dislikes. So as they get into 8th grade, we've been focusing on what their top interests are. So as they start picking classes for Stoughton High School, they know kind of what to participate in, and that's going to be, at least for the 8th grade, the next second half of the year is getting them ready for Stoughton High School, their attendance policy, what their class selection is going to look like, so they're ready to go next year. We have all sorts of clubs and activities at Stoughton Middle School. Where are we now? But our Student Council Vice President, Mark Kenya, is going to talk to you a little bit about some of those.
Thank you, Ms. Bailey. Student Council is a group of students elected by their peers to organize student events and activities that build our school's unity. We always try to think about inclusivity of these events, whether it's planned based off of, like, for example, some kids have different religions, so that's why during December, when most celebrate Christmas, we just have it festive worded instead, because we want to make sure that everyone's included. There's also other clubs that show different leadership skills, like peer leadership, which is a group of students who influence, support, and guide others without having any form of authority. So kind of like with student council, how there's a vice president and president who kind of run things. It's not like that for peer leadership. It's rather just a bunch of kids trying to make sure everyone has a good time. And then there's NJHS, which is actually an organization. I think it's across the country, if I'm correct. And NJHS is like offered to 7th and 8th grade students, and it recognizes and encourages excellence in service and leadership and character. And there's also another club, which is Buddies Club, but I will have my friend John Viev explain that to you.
Can you explain what NJHS is?
National Junior Honor Society.
Thank you.
Buddies Club is where it's an inclusive after-school program where students with and without disabilities all come together to build meaningful one-on-one friendships. So we do a variety of activities, like we do sports, and students can also come up with different activities we can do on every other Wednesday, and yeah.
We're going to talk about the visual arts.
In middle school, art club is available to all 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. In art club, we do a lot of activities like fuse beads, clay painting, and a lot more. From my experience, art club is amazing. I've been it since 6th grade, and my art skills have definitely improved a lot, and I've made a lot of friends. Yeah.
We have performing arts as other clubs. I am personally in Honors Wind Band, which is a group of students who are in band. It's open for 7th, 8th, and 9th graders, but 6th graders are also welcome to join. You have to audition to get in, but most people get in anyways. And we play at all of the regular concerts for 7th and 8th graders. It's on Wednesdays after school from 2:30 to 3:30 or 2:30 to 4. You are welcome to stay until whenever you want. And yeah.
We also offer another performing arts, and it's jazz band. For me personally, I'm in jazz band, and I think it's a really lovely community to be all together and play different instruments. We meet on Tuesdays at 2:30 to 4, and it's offered to 7th to 8th graders. And coming up, we also have something called Evening of Jazz, which we're going to be participating in.
Now, moving on to the athletics. The OMS offers many different sports so that children can stay engaged. During the fall, they offer soccer, track, field hockey, and cross country. During the winter, they offer basketball, wrestling, and dance team. And during the spring, they offer track once again.
Another one of our club things is special interest clubs, where students can come up with an idea, and if they get a teacher or staff member to mentor it, they can turn it into a club. Some of these that have happened are anime club, poetry club, helping teachers, photography, and science of hair club.
So we talked about art club with Sharon, and we actually been really lucky. Art club has been funded through the Mass Cultural Council grant the last 2 years as part of our way to help beautify OMS. So not only giving students an opportunity after school within their grade level classrooms to come and kind of try some stuff they might not be used to. We're getting a chance to also put some art back in the middle school hallways. Last year, you can see in your packet, we each grade did about a 16-foot mural, one for each of our 3 R's, a respect, a responsibility, and readiness, and there are pictures of them in your packet. We just started planning for this year's. We're gonna fill the CAF with some school pride, different things. So that's great, and it's been really great to have the chance to run those clubs for the last 2 years through that grant. And then we're gonna talk about some upcoming things that are happening through Student Council.
So currently the Student Council is planning, well, not really planning, it's actually happening tomorrow night. The OMS will be having a movie night, and this will be a chance for our community to gather in the CAF, and students will be watching the movie Lady and the Tramp. And surprisingly, today we've actually reached our goal of selling 50 tickets at least, because if we did not sell those 50 tickets, then the event would not be happening. Pre-sale. And the OMS also has different spirit like weeks and days, and an example of that I could give you would be before Thanksgiving. We had different activities where students would play bingo within their classrooms and like a trivia game, and then they would move to the CAF where they would have an activity called Minute to Win It, which is where you have to complete the activity within a minute. And then after being in that CAF, you would transition to the gym where you would play different games like musical chairs, tug of war, and there would be overall team winners for each grade, if I am correct.
I'll be talking about the 8th grade Veterans Day that we had in November. It was a good learning experience for all the 8th graders to watch all their fellow classmates go up and present all the veterans. A select few 8th graders went to go interview veterans and learn about their experience. We wrote down, me personally, we wrote it down, I presented, and it was really fun. And we got to learn about all the different experience, their ups and downs, and it was just a really nice experience.
So Then, in addition to all the clubs and activities we have a lot of academic support and interventions in place for students. So we look at the data and utilize STAR, MCAS, classroom assessments, and we hold data meetings, and then we put together different interventions for students, and we include that in their schedules. So we run in trimesters, and looking at the data in trimester 1, we might schedule a student for a literacy lab in trimester 2, or they might receive academic enrichment, a little bit more of hands-on academic organizing help and support. All our teachers stay after school on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, so that students are available to get help also after school. So we try and really utilize interventions during the school day, but then after school as well. Within the school day and within the building, we have many different teams that exist with our teachers and our faculty to really focus in and figure out what interventions, whether that's an attendance team, our building-based support team that looks at academics or attendance or behavior. We have a Nights on Time tardy and tutoring program that takes place after school, where National Honor Society students from the high school come down to the middle school, and then they tutor our students after school, and so students can participate with that if they need more help or support academically, or if they've been chronically tardy to school, they can earn back some time there, and they really enjoy that because they really like working with the high schoolers, so sometimes more than just another adult in the building. They hear it from an older peer, and they can build a positive connection that way. Our teachers also hold team meetings, that team model, so our teachers meet with each other, and then we also hold team assembly meetings with the students where we go over our expectations, but we also recognize them for honor roll and high honor roll and other. We recognized a student last year for an art award he received, so we get to spotlight students there as well. Our counselors support students through peer mediations and lunch groups, and in general, we have a restorative approach to discipline. So in middle school, it's the time where students are learning, they're becoming independent, they're kind of testing those boundaries, and so we always say there's no such thing as a perfect student ever, and so really we're expecting mistakes happen, and so it's just learning from those mistakes, and anytime we can build in some educational pieces as part of it, because really the goal is to learn from the experience and then use that to help them make a better choice moving forward. So we've really incorporated some restorative approaches, and so then over the last few years we've really seen a decrease in terms of our suspensions, and we've seen a decrease in terms of even the more minor like cell phone violations that happen, and we're really seeing that ultimately, all of what you heard here today from our 8th grade students, our clubs, our activities, PBIS, our school-wide expectations, all really drive towards school connectedness. We really want our students to feel connected and comfortable coming to school. We're building a safe and supportive learning environment for all of our students, and really our chronic absenteeism data shows that. So in 2023, we had an 18% chronic absenteeism data, and then you can see just released on our school report card for 2025, we're down to 14%. So we're seeing that trend down, and we're still actively really working with that. But really, it's in middle school, it's about feeling part of a community and feeling like you belong and finding your people and your interests and growing. And so that school connectedness piece we're really seeing in our attendance data as well. And then ultimately, you've been kind of, in your packet, you can see some of the student responses of what makes OMS so great, but I think one student really put it simply with what makes OMS so great, it's the people. It's our students and it's our staff and teachers. They are what make our school so great. We have teachers and staff in our building who love middle school. And I know there's all different levels, but I'm partial to middle school because it's the time and the age group where the most change is happening. And it's also the time where they're learning to kind of figure out who they are as they become older and mature. And so it's a really fun age group to work with. And our teachers and staff really provide the consistency, the structures, the routines, so that they can really learn and kind of grow within our school. Our students gain independence, and really we're helping them learn the skills to put their ideas into actions. And so really it's our students and our staff that make OMS great, and really what makes us different from other middle schools are our students. We really lean into what our student ideas are, and we're trying to really just support them and make their ideas come to fruition. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you all for a fantastic presentation. I loved hearing so much directly from you. I think we all do. Anyone have any questions for Principal Crowley? Yes, Armando, microphone.
A question and a comment. How are you doing for space in the middle school?
Space is tight. Space is tight. Enrollment is actually lower than it has been in the last few years. So in terms of our class sizes, the space is fine, but we are having more specialized programs coming in, and so because of that, it's finding locations and spaces to put them. So we do room sharing right now, and within the departments, and really the faculty have been. It's a team effort, and so it's not that idea of this is my classroom. It's all of our rooms, and so there's a lot of room sharing happening.
Good, thank you. One of the things I wanted to congratulate you on is actually I drive to OMS every day, and the traffic can be hectic. And I just wanted to compliment you on the two people you have out there. They really move us along. And what's impressive about them when they have a moment and they're not watching the traffic, as a student comes by and they look like they're moping, dragging their feet, and you could just see them, high five, and all of a sudden they pick up and they smile and they're more cheerful. They do their high five and they walk into the school happy. And I just want to please thank them for me, because they're doing a great job of just starting the day out for them the right way.
They are two of our school security monitors out there, and they do an excellent job.
Ms. Powers?
Excellent presentation. Thank you for being here. Wondering, I think I heard one of your students said that they're on student council. Do you guys, are any of you on school council, and when is your next meeting?
So at so at the middle school level, school council is parents, community members, and teachers, and
students,
and faculty. So at the middle school level.
Oh, so there's no students in that?
No students at the middle school level.
Oh, got it. Okay. Well, then maybe you didn't know. I want to ask them the same question. If you've had a chance to look at the revised homework policy and what your thoughts were on it.
Know that they're talking about
They
changing
know.
their policy?
No. Yeah.
None of you have heard. I mean, you've heard that it's in the works to be revised? You have. Okay. All right. But none of you have seen it yet. All right. Keep your eyes open.
Any other questions? Thank you all so much for your time. Drive safely and be ready for school first thing tomorrow morning. All right, moving on to the Department of Elementary and Secondary Office of Public School Monitoring's Integrated Monitoring Review Report for Stoughton Public Schools. Mr. Clark, yes.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Last time I was here, I believe I updated you on the fact that the team from DESE would be visiting. It is now a 3-year cycle where they come in and they pick various areas to basically audit us, look for compliance, look for the work that we're doing, and offer feedback on whether we are implementing, or I should say in full compliance, partial compliance, or non-compliance. This time around, they looked at a total of 29 different areas in special education and also civil rights. In this 3-year process, it starts off with a self-assessment. They let us know what areas they're going to be looking at, and they have us do our own assessment of these different areas, compile some documentation, which we then upload to the state. The state then comes in and does a site visit, which happened in early November. Part of the site visit comes in, they look at our facilities, they interviewed staff, they did parent surveys, they talked with also different groups of stakeholders as well. And then they generate a report, which was in your packet tonight, taking a look at those 29 areas and how Stoughton is doing with the implementation of all of those regulations. And out of the 29, we were found to be, to partially implement 4 areas. Everything else they consider to be fully implemented. So of those 4 areas, we have to create a corrective action plan. Mr. Colantonio and I went over the corrective action plan this afternoon. It's actually due tomorrow. We're going to be uploading it in the morning. Speaking specifically about the areas of partial implementation, 2 of the 4 we've already taken care of. One had to do with, we updated our bullying policy to be consistent with the state and federal regs. And we were, how many hours short, Mr. Colantonio, of getting that training done?
Of submitting the sign-in sheet, the training was done.
Yeah, training was done. So basically, we got cited for
We wanted
being.
a morning submission, and I submitted it.
You slept in that
4
day?
p.m.,
Yeah, okay. So that training that we were found to be partially implemented is already done. Another area that we've already updated, it's labeled professional development, but we were specifically cited for not giving our special ed transportation providers enough information on the students they were transporting. It's a form that's been used in district for quite a while. I always side on the cautiously side and when it comes to confidentiality, and they wanted to see a little more information about how the students would react to being in a van, any type of accommodations, outside of a car seat or a buckle buddy or something that should be put in place. And when I heard that they didn't like the form we had, I raised the question to a group of directors at the North River Collaborative. We meet every other month. And I had some samples that were provided to me by schools who didn't get that finding, and we've updated that form. So basically, our corrective action plan is going to be on 2 areas. One is actually a general ed initiative, which DESE is now looking at under Child Find, which is our general education tiered interventions. Okay? We're doing it district-wide. We're doing it in every school. It's how the information is collected and then reported on was different in a few different buildings. So we have the mechanism in place. We just have to get it more consistent, and that's part of the plan we have. The other area, which is one that we're going to have to do a deeper dive in, has to do with access to programs. And what they do is they take a look at how students with special needs are placed through their IEPs. It's either full inclusion, partial inclusion, or substantially separate setting. When they took a look at the data statewide for FY25, they broke it down by demographics, and our demographics are a little skewed when you look across the 4 main categories that they've listed are white and Caucasian, multi-race, Hispanic, or Black or African American. And our numbers of Black and African American students that are fully included is about 10 percentage point lower than their peers. So it's going to fall under my purview to do a deep dive or a root cause analysis to see why those percentages are off. And if they are off, then take a look at some of the factors and develop a plan where we continuously monitor how we're identifying the needs of students moving forward to make sure there isn't this discrepancy moving forward. And that's really it this time around. As I said, there were 19 areas, and we were found partial implementation in 4, which 3 out of the 4 I saw coming, so we were prepared for them. But all in all, I'm proud of the folks that work in district and the hard work they do, because in comparison to other reports I've seen, it's a very good report.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that summary.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions for Ed Clark?
I guess I could just add a little bit. I'm sorry, it's before they revamped this process, they used to look at every part of the compliance review every 5 years, which were 30-plus areas of special ed, 25-plus areas under civil rights, and they split it up. So now it's every 3 years that they're taking a look at, almost half, and then a little more than half. This year was really taking a look at not instruction, not paperwork compliance or adherence to those regulations. It was in the area of licensure, engagement of families and communities, facilities, administrative oversight, time on learning, and then equal access throughout the district. Basically, if you take a look at the cycle now, they come every 3 years, and we're busy every 3 years. We're either doing the self-assessment, we're doing the audit where they're visiting, or we're doing a corrective action plan. So it's a continuous cycle to make sure that districts are compliant constantly. So,
Perfect.
which cuts down on it a little bit, but I think it's a good system.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming here tonight and sharing
You're
this with
welcome.
us. I appreciate that. Moving on to Stoughton High School Program of Studies, Julie Miller, and once again, just want to remind my school committee members of our policy around curriculum development and adoption, that this is really informational only, unless there is an extensive alteration in instructional content or approach, which I believe there is not this year.
Correct.
Ms. Miller?
All right, thank you so much. So I believe you received the full program of studies in your email, but in the packet is only an abbreviated version. If you have not received the full program of studies, please feel free to reach out to me. I can send it to you, or it is on our website. We have made a few changes this year, significantly less than in past years. This year, one of the big additions is the directors and the department heads have been working to start to identify and build actual career pathways in the high school. We started last year by doing those career connection pages and trying to identify for students and families what kinds of classes they might want to take if they're interested in particular areas. And now we're starting to actually try to carve out some pathways. We also recently received the early college grant, the early college planning grant, so that is something that will be coming down the pike in future years, which will be a great addition, and future CTE work, which will actually bring some more hands-on CTE programming to our students.
Can you explain what CTE is?
Yes, Career Technical Ed. Thank you. So what you'll see in the first there on page 16, or with this nice graphic, is what our first go at pathways will be for our students. And then throughout the catalog, underneath each course description, it identifies to students and family if that class could be a part of a pathway, just for easy reading as they go. So I'm not going to mention all of those. They are throughout the whole catalog. You'll see them underneath a class, whether it's part of the broadcasting or multimedia pathway, or whether it's part of music. You'll see a little sentence there that identifies it for students. And of course, those classes can be taken by anybody, but anyone who is interested in following a pathway would want to be looking for those particular notations. Because we are moving in and expanding beyond the idea of just video productions, and we hope to expand upon that in the future. The recommendation was to move away from the title of video productions 1, 2, and 3, and move to broadcasting 1, 2, and 3. So that changes in there. The A+ certification pathway, or the classes, is suggested to be removed from the catalog. We actually, the teacher that taught that is sort of a niche. It's hard to find people that teach that particular coursework. We weren't unable to find someone 2 years ago. We have changed our computer science programming to include cybersecurity last year, which is a huge push. And so the new teacher for that is really taking on those classes, and A+ certification really does not have a place for us right now at this time, so the suggestion is to remove it. To update and to bring into more 21st century language, the suggestion was to move away from the term drama and change it to the word theater. Removing the class theater for social change, but in its place adding theatrical collaboration, directing, and design. Mr. Halleck is always revamping our program. He is only a part-time teacher, so he tries to utilize as much of his time by making sure our students are constantly having new opportunities through each year. As Faith mentioned in her presentation upon questioning, we are offering healthcare skills and HOSA leadership as a course for our students. This is an opportunity for our students to expand upon the skills that they might be interested in. Stoughton students graduate from Stoughton in huge numbers going towards the sciences. It is a very popular major for our students. So this is just another addition for assisting in preparing them for those future careers and leadership skills. The suggestion is to remove ethics and technology. That's a course that's been in our program of studies for quite some time, and it's time for a little bit of a make way for new courses and new opportunities. I'm pretty excited in the World Language Department to offer an elective called Medical Terminology. This would be through the lens of the Latin language to get to root terminology. Like I said, many of our students graduate Stoughton High School and go into the sciences, so this would be a nice addition to a science pathway that we are building and hope to continue to expand upon. And we have been offering Portuguese now for several years, and it's time to add a fourth year of the language so that students who want to continue beyond the third year can do so. And so the suggestion is to add Portuguese college and honors level at the level 4. So those are all the changes that we are proposing this year. Our school council voted on this document a month and a half ago perhaps, and voted unanimously to approve it as presented.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Miller. I am personally super excited about the career connection pathways. I think that's really exciting. It's going to provide a lot of clarity to parents and students when they're thinking about their journey through Stoughton High School. If they have a distinct path or goal in mind in terms of a career, I think it will be very beneficial. And I cannot share any of this with my daughter because she will be extremely upset that these were not options when she was at Stoughton High School last year. So turning it over to my colleagues, any questions for Ms. Miller? Yes.
Quick question, how's staffing for these, for coming up for next year? Like, do we have the staff to be able to teach these?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the theater is they'll off cycle. If you look in the full program of studies, some of the courses that we offer will not be offered next year, and theatrical collaboration design will take its place. Again, that goes back to him trying to offer as many opportunities to our theater students as they go through the 4 years. Science, we're replacing one course for the other, and then the medical terminology in Portuguese, we certainly have some space within those courses to be able to expand beyond the offerings. This doesn't require any new teaching sections and should just really round out the offerings for our kiddos.
Awesome, thank you.
Welcome.
Other questions?
Can I just mention one other thing?
Please.
For those parents and students at home that are eagerly watching this presentation, we start our course selection process the week after February vacation. We have been sending home notifications and information. They've been in my weekly updates as well. Students should be using this time now to review the program of studies and pick courses for next year. Teachers have been making recommendations. Teachers should have recommended to all students by the end of this week what courses they're suggesting they take in the following weeks. There is a waiver process. Those waivers are due on Friday if a student wants to take a course other than what they were recommended for. And we are super excited to get this process underway.
Excellent. Great. Thank you so much. Okay, moving on into new business and voting items. We have 2 new policies here coming from our policy committee, so I will turn it over to Jillian and Jennifer.
Okay, it's been mentioned a few times tonight from Ms. Powers that we have a new homework policy. We created a policy, we sent it out to the school councils. School councils sent back some recommendations. We integrated some of the recommendations, I won't say all of them, into our new homework policy. One of the things I think we got rid of that was upsetting to a lot of people was the grid. People didn't like that grid, so we changed the grid. I mean, we pretty much recommend homework from K to 12 and different levels. I mean, kindergarten, just read for 20 minutes. Every grade should be reading for 20 minutes. One of the things we also were pushing in the homework policy is summer reading, to definitely hook up with Stoughton Public Library to create a list so students could, read through the summer and ask students to read through the summer. I think we took in, the thoughts of religious holidays to work around that. What happens if the student has felt like they've done the amount of work we've had, that they need to approach the teacher, that teachers need to work together, especially as we just heard from the middle school, they work as a team, that they talk to each other about what homework might be going, or if they're working on a big project, so students are not overwhelmed with big projects. It was interesting to me when I was asked to do this, because I looked at Stoughton, and there is no other town around here that has a homework policy. I ended up going to a town I taught in, which was Somerville, and using their policy to help shape ours. But no other town that is around us has homework policy when I did the deep dive into different programs, which was interesting to see. So hopefully maybe we're, setting the path for other towns to copy it. But I'm hoping that people can read through it. Maybe they'll have some other suggestions that we can move forward with. I don't know if Jonathan or Jillian have anything to add to it.
I think one of the biggest things that we did here, well, there's a couple of big things we did, was really put like a whole, what is the purpose of homework, preparation, practice, study skills. We offered guidance to students, teachers, family administrators, encourage them on best practices. And also when it comes to, we removed the grid, and we expanded out some guidelines on how much, time per grade that we students should expect to be doing homework. And the basic times were based off of the, educational studies on what is the best practices for homework and homework times and homework guidelines. So we utilize that and what's been recommended by the Board of Educators. Just to kind of put this out loud for everyone, for kindergarten, students should not be assigned any homework. Students should read 20 minutes a night. Grades 1 through 2, if assigned, homework should not exceed 20 minutes each day. And grades 1 to 2, homework shall not be a factor that is tied to a grade and is generally not recommended. Students should read 20 minutes a night. Grades 3 to 5, 30 minutes per night. In addition, students should read 20 minutes a night.
Sorry, Jillian, is your microphone on?
Sorry.
Sorry about that.
Nope, that was my fault. For grades 3 through 5, 30 minutes per night. In addition, students should read 20 minutes per night. Grades 6 through 8, 60 minutes per night. Per team, all teacher teams should coordinate assignments. In addition, 20 minutes a night of nightly reading. And grades 9 through 12, the amount of homework will vary by subject because it was very difficult to be able to determine for high school students for the amount of homework that they should be doing. We really need to leave that up to the teachers and the students and the families to communicate that. All right. Anything you wanted to add, John?
I just wanted to say that there was actually a great deal of effort by a lot of people that led to the revisions of this policy, because we had run focus groups in the past where people put in a lot of time to provide feedback on the existing policy. We also kicked out the draft of this to the various school councils because they are the representatives of each of those smaller school communities to get feedback. And all that feedback was taken into account, as well as the focus group information, to generate this particular policy you have in front of you. So it wasn't something that was created in a vacuum. It was actually something where we had a great deal of feedback leading up to the draft that you have in front of you.
Yeah, the feedback was overall very positive, especially getting rid of the grid. There's some great stuff that they were just mentioning. What I really liked, and I wish I thought about it, was that recommending that elementary school teachers provide homework on Mondays and giving them the opportunity to do homework throughout the week. Because, as a elementary parent myself, tonight my daughter's in theater. She's there till 7:30. Today's a bad day to do homework. But tomorrow is much more free. We can do the homework then, so it's not due the next day. So that is highly encouraged for the elementary school. And that is how the high school does their homework, is they provide it on Mondays or Tuesdays, allow children to allow students to, organize their schedule and be able to do the homework based off what their after-school activities and work and other programs are.
Sorry, can you say that again? What happens at the high school?
Their homeworks are provided on Mondays and Tuesdays, and so that the students are able to organize their homework and their after-school activities.
Are you saying that the high school doesn't get homework? I mean, can you corroborate what she's, are you saying that the high school doesn't get homework on Wednesdays and Thursdays?
Well, it's like the beginning of the week of the class.
So like elementary school, they get it at the beginning of the week and then
No,
they're able
not
to
right now.
do it?
Elementary schools, they are given it each day. So I got homework today, it's due tomorrow morning. I'll get another homework tomorrow, it's due the next day.
No, I
That makes
understand
it
that.
very
When my kids were in
difficult.
elementary school, they
Yeah.
also were, not to interrupt you, but I understand, that part I understood.
Mm-hmm.
Of that's, you don't want them,
No, we want that on Monday, the teacher gives all the homework that's going to be due that week, or on Tuesday. And that way, if a student does have like theater or soccer or something, they could know that, Tuesday night's a bad night, but we can work on it Wednesday.
at the
night.
elementary level.
It's
And
done as-
also at the high school level?
Yes,
Yeah.
no, that's, from my understanding, that is how it's being done.
That's how it's done
currently.
now
Yeah.
at the high school level?
Thank you. So sometimes I would say the homework at the Monday, Tuesday, but I think what is more so what happens at the high school is because our schedule is every other day, students have multiple days to complete
Yes,
the
exactly.
assignments. So it's not that every homework assignment is assigned on a Monday or Tuesday, it's that if they get assignment on a Monday, it's not due until Wednesday or sometimes Friday. If they get an assignment on Tuesday, it's not due until Thursday or the following
Yes.
Monday, because it's an every other day. So they have multiple days to complete the
Exactly, it's
the
not due the
assignment.
next day, so you're not
Correct.
stressed to be like, I have to do it tonight.
Correct.
Yes, that's the
Yes.
rule.
Yeah, except that the high school students have multiple classes. So unlike elementary school, they have the one teacher, and then they can kind of, so high school, I don't think all of the teachers are collaborating with each other. So if I read it right, there is no time at all for high school, no time limit,
There's no guidance for them. It's
no
up to the
guidance, no
teachers.
limit, nothing.
Yeah,
It would be difficult, because if I'm taking an AP class, and I've taught AP classes, that's chapters and chapters of reading a night, compared to an honors or a college level course. So it's very hard to dictate at the high school level, because if you're taking an AP class, you're expected to be able to read a couple of chapters in a textbook a night. That's the issue at the high school level, is the different levels of classes.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
And what did the school council say at the high school level?
The high school level, I don't remember them, they didn't have any issues
yeah,
with
they,
any
they,
of the
they,
time.
they agreed
Oh.
with it.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, no,
I
we-
would
There
like
was
to.
definitely some feedback from the high school.
yeah, so.
There's definitely
um,
some feedback from the high school that was
I'll let them
mixed.
finish, but
Yeah.
then, not so much on the homework policy, because this is informational, but how we got there, so the development of it. But I want to allow them to finish, because I think I cut them off.
What was the specific question that you want us to answer?
I think if you guys are done, then, first of all, like, what prompted you, like, who said do homework policy?
So the homework policy actually,
Like, who told the committee to look at homework policy?
we're the policy working group, and that was a policy that we wanted to address.
Okay, so no one said, hey, can you guys take a look at homework policy?
Like, no one specific. For me personally, before I was even on school committee, years before, this has been something that's been talked about amongst small
I'm
groups.
just talking about this year. that
This
was
year, because I'm
decided.
on school committee, I really want to address it, because I've heard it before, that it was something that needed to be addressed.
And if I could just add in, this has been on the back burner for quite some time.
Mhm.
And in the past, we had taken the time to collect a lot of information.
Mhm.
So we had aggregated all of it, and we were just basically waiting for the process to run its course. So this was very timely. And what I appreciate the fact is we had all the information from about a year ago, which was all the focus groups, but you again took the time to reach back out to the school councils and elicit additional feedback on the draft policy before bringing it back to the committee, which I thought was very useful, and I think it drew a lot closer to your goal in terms of policy development by going through that full process.
And I believe, one thing that I wanted to add, but Dr. Baeta, I believe you'll be advertising this per Ms. Powers'
Yeah,
recommendation?
I actually have a list of things I would like to do.
Actually, per Ms.
well,
Sears'
through
recommendation.
Joe. I would like it to be posted on our Stoughton Public Schools Facebook page. Part of your email, weekly email, Dr. Baeta, email school councils and PTOs. And I would like to make sure that our school committee meetings have open comment that's very communicated through those avenues. And I was wondering if it might be even possible to extend our public comment possibly earlier or later. So we do our comment section at 6:15 per night. Maybe we start it a bit earlier, or we can have two of them where we start 6:15 and then at the end to do another additional 30 minutes, just sit here for comments if people can't make it to that earlier time.
Public comment is a policy that needs to be changed in policy, or I don't know if it's even possible that we can just change a policy on the fly,
You can simply vote to make an amendment to your policy.
to make it a permanent amendment or a temporary
Temporary.
amendment?
Yeah. Or we could do
Or we could do a
special
hearing.
You can
meeting
suspend the
if that's what
policy or the expectation
what
for
we could
the.
do. That would be easier.
Special meeting, I think, would be appreciated by a lot of people.
I'm very open to that. I
Have them
really
come in and
want
talk
people's
about it.
feedback about it, because, it definitely has a lot of effect on many different individuals.
So, Mr. Ford, if I didn't cut you off. Thank you. So I know that in the past, you have had ready at the go a Google opinion type thing, and all of the questions were there and could have been sent out to all of the parents in different languages, from what I understand. I think we've had that conversation. So was that ever done, or is that something that maybe we should consider doing for our ELL families?
Well, in the past, we did develop a survey that would have went with the.
But it didn't get disseminated, right?
Well, at the time, the committee decided not to send it.
So it did not get disseminated?
Did
Okay. All right, so I'm curious as to how many parents, at the elementary level, I can't imagine students would have a huge say at that point. But I would be interested to know how many parents are on the school councils, and when the school councils are going to be in session again, because the high school council just got canceled. So we won't be able to discuss it as a school council before this goes to its third vote. And apparently, I didn't realize the OMS school council doesn't have any students on it. So I didn't get a chance to do it. So I definitely think that more public comment and more public reach out is, and maybe that's what you're planning on talking about. I hope.
Yeah, through
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, thank you.
To Ms. Powers and the committee. So when you implement policy, you start with your policy working group that takes the policy and drafts something. That draft, in this particular case, also took into account the school councils having some input into it. Now that you have a draft, you send it back out to the school councils for them to continue to have input. The key here is where are our teachers and where are our parents and where are our students as part of the process. So you have a draft. That draft can be absolutely publicized in everything that you want in any way, shape, or form. You actually have a very decent calendar response this year with the number of surveys that we got back from families, over 600, and staff. And students, the calendar, when we sent it out for a survey. So I'm using that as an example, because typically we don't get 600 responses
I
from
was
families.
really excited about that. Yeah.
Right. It may make your decision easier, right? So, because there was a lot of activity from staff, students, and predominantly from our families. We've never had 600 responses since I've been here. So definitely people are interested. My point is this. You've created a draft through your policy working group by taking information from your school councils. Check the box, good idea. Now you take your draft, send it back to your school councils for further input, and you publicize to the public, in this case, I would say students in 6 to 12, and all parents and guardians pre-K through or K through 12,
Language
and you
translated.
and everything like we do with the other stuff. We translate it typically in our 6 key languages, I believe is the number, and we send it out. And we have this. I mean, you're not going to implement this policy until September, so you have time. It's a bad decision to implement something
Yes.
middle of the year, so that would be my recommendation to you. But it's your decision. But we have the time to say, let's come back from February vacation. Don't start anything before February vacation. Come back, go February, well into March. Now in March, you have your first public discussion where you say homework policy, and you just put it on your agenda. It's on your agenda, and you're going to recognize anybody who wants to speak about it. It's not a public comment time. It's just you're opening up your agenda on homework policy for anybody who wants to
I
make a
didn't know
statement.
we could do that.
Is that a hearing, or is that, how does that work?
Well,
Can you guide us on that?
Yeah, so you could do a hearing process, but you
It's
have.
different than what you're
but
suggesting.
Traditionally, the committee has, if there's somebody who wants to make a comment about something, you've allowed for it to happen.
How?
By raising their hand and saying, I'd like to act on it. But you could say, public, I'm trying to use the phrase, you could have homework policy, public discussion, just call it that instead of public comment.
So we could have a public comment, as we typically do
Yeah,
before
do
every
your
time.
15 minutes, nobody shows
Yep.
up, right?
And then we do our meeting, and then towards the end, the last agenda item is homework, so that allows people to come in late, and so we wouldn't have to make any
Right, so-
adjustments.
So maybe like if you start at 6, you have executive session, you have your public comment, you have a bunch of agenda, and like at 7:15, which is a good time for people to come. Around 7:15, you say, who's here to talk about homework?
Excellent.
And they're either people here or they're not.
And
by
you don't
then
have to make
data.
that a public hearing. It's just because it's on the agenda, people can sit and talk about anything on the agenda.
Right.
I didn't know that. I
Well,
thought
I mean, you have to
public
be
couldn't.
recognized, it's your meeting, so the idea is to be recognized, and typically that's why you have public comment. But in a case like this, you're asking for public comment. There's nothing that stops you from saying, is there anybody here who would like to talk about this policy, and only this policy, yes or no?
And just
Excellent.
so something that we've done in the past.
Thank you, Faith.
When we've
My-
had issues like this or policies like, it hasn't happened recently, but we used to have 2 school committee members come an hour before the school committee meeting because it's not a quorum. And simply listen to people that wanted to come and have maybe a more in-depth conversation as opposed to the public comment component. And then those people would bring forward to the committee what the topics were, the discussions, ideas, or the feedback. So in that way, it just coincided with the meeting itself, and it was very
Okay,
clean.
I'm going to warn against this. This is coming dangerous. We are already dangerously close to violating open meeting law and subcommittee policies. And I think we're really walking a line here. I know your position on it, but I think we're walking a line here.
I'm not seeing the intersection between 2 members of the committee coming ahead of time, not the working group, but just any 2 members.
So we have a committee, we might title it working group, but it is a committee of 2 of our committee members who were tasked by vote at the beginning of the year to do policies. They have been collecting information from sources, and now they are advising the committee as a whole. And it sounds a lot like the definition of a subcommittee. So I want to keep us honestly, I want to keep us in the clear, because you know as well as I do that if someone wants to say, hey, you guys that's actually a subcommittee, and you guys should have been recording that, they can overturn the entire policy. And I don't want that to happen.
So
So I just want us to get, I just want to make sure we're doing it the right way.
I absolutely understand your concern, but just so the committee knows, in the past, when we were discussing whether to run subcommittees or run working groups on various issues, we did in fact take it to legal counsel for the district, and he made a determination that in this circumstance where we are appointing people annually and sometimes we don't even run policy working group, this is in fact a working group and not a subcommittee. So, I mean, if you'd like to take that back and have it reviewed by legal counsel, we can do that. But I don't see the connection between what the committee used to do in terms of having various school committee members available before a meeting on big items to receive feedback and bring that to the table on behalf of the people that came ahead of time. I don't see the relation of that to whether we run a working group or a subcommittee?
Because it sounds a lot like a subcommittee, and subcommittees are supposed to be recorded. So I just want to, yeah, I think we're dangerously close to violating open meeting law.
So,
I just wanna be
so I understand what you're saying, but I think this issue came up on the town side, if we recall, on the working group for the.
That was different. That was different, because that
It-
working group for the South School, sorry to cut you off, but that working group for the South School was created by the town manager, not by the select board. If the select board had established a committee, even if they wanted to call it a working group, the Attorney General can say, listen, the committee, a public body, with members of that public body now advising the greater public body, is a,
Move on. I think we're kind of beyond that topic at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's fine. So,
Actually, I wasn't done with that, and you interrupting me. All right, point of order. It wasn't a motion, it's a point of order, because I'm trying to keep the committee from getting open meeting law violation. It is something that's serious, and I don't appreciate you interrupting me. That's violating the norms.
Ms. Powers, I think the point
Mr.
here
Stefano.
is that we understand and appreciate your concern and agree that we do not want to break open meeting law. I think that is
And I would have
the
appreciated being able
sentiment.
to finish hearing what our superintendent had to say about it, and he got cut off.
He did, by you.
And
So-
by Ms. DeStefano. And I was just, I mean, that was
Dr.
an
Baeta?
obvious point about the select
Dr.
board.
Baeta?
Yeah, I think what I will do for the purposes of clarity is I will request Joe Emerson, our legal counsel, for input on the title of working group as appointed by the school committee versus, and get you a legal counsel review in writing, and then you can do what you decide you want to do.
Is there a cost associated with that?
Yes.
I would prefer not to do that this time, because I was not planning on doing this anyways, so.
I would prefer to do this at this time to ensure that we're not violating open meeting law.
With the current budget as it is, I don't think it would be advantageous to do so.
It would cost a lot more if we didn't.
It would cost a lot more if you chose to go that route, but.
Can I simply recommend that we just table the suggestion that Jonathan had made about having the conversation prior to, and we just do this during school committee meeting? Would that be acceptable?
I think the meeting with the school committee as a whole.
Yep.
Kind of.
Yep. Yep.
You know, I think you're terrific, but
Yep.
that one I was just, I think we're already close. So I don't want to go over that.
No, point has been taken. Thank you so
And,
much.
I would also make a suggestion, if I may be so bold, that the MASC is something we already pay for. So not everything has to go through the lawyer. We can go through our MASC professionals and ask them this. And they may be able to give us a free guidance on this. They might even do a professional development for us, which would be a worthwhile one. I would also like to request that I receive all of the feedback from all of the school councils. I would like to see all of them. I was going to ask for the letter to our lawyer, but we're not going to do that. But I would like to see, if you plan on emailing MASC, or I can do it, then I would like to see the email that is sent on behalf of the school committee, and I would like to see their response.
Okay. So noted.
This is a big undertaking, and a lot of work has been done to do this. And I want to make sure that it's not going to be brought back because we violated something unintentionally.
Any other comments about the homework policy? I do want to take a minute to really appreciate the time and intentionality that the policy committee put into taking on this Herculean effort, and really appreciate the diligence that you made to make sure that it's reflective of the voice of parents, students, and staff.
Madam Chair, through you, I'm going to ask for a motion from the committee to appoint the superintendent to publicize all of this. I'd like to see that as a motion, considering we have different views on all of this. And the reason why I'm asking for that is that way I am working on behalf of the committee to gather all this information for you. I will also communicate with the school, through the principals, to the school councils to put it on their agenda and publicize it, and do so over the course of what will probably be the next 2 months.
Are you able to make a motion?
I am not making a motion. I'm asking if someone would please make that
Okay, so a
motion.
superintendent cannot make the
I am
motion.
not making a motion.
I'm asking you if you can or cannot.
I cannot.
Okay.
I can
So
seek
what-
your request for
Okay.
one.
Can you tell me exactly
Can
what
I-
motion you're looking for? Because I'm unclear.
I will entertain a motion to appoint the superintendent to conduct outreach to receive feedback on the proposed draft homework policy, IKB. Do I hear that motion?
Is that what you?
Yeah.
That's what you want?
Yep.
All right, motion was made by Jen Sears. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Jillian DeStefano. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries
I'd like to still see
5-0.
School council memos, though.
Yeah, I'm sorry. On the school council information, I'm going to defer to Mr. Ford.
You
to
undid
provide-
it again?
I'm going to defer to Mr. Ford to
I'll send it
provide the
tonight.
entire committee. Thank you.
Thank
He's
you.
the one who has it.
Okay. Thank you so much for making that suggestion, Dr. Bida. I think that's super helpful, and that helps to dot the i's and cross the t's. Moving on to the middle school pathway exploration policy.
I'll take that one. So a few months back, the committee did in fact pass a middle school pathways exploration policy. We're required to do so by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. The initial policy we submitted was a bare bones piece, just incredibly general. And what we did is we got some feedback from the Department of Ed where they asked us to just provide more information. So what this policy does, it just flushes out the initial policy and adds some additional components as requested by the DESE. This is exactly what they're looking for. I'm just asking for the committee to review it and approve it so that I can submit it. This is one of the things we're seeing where the Department of Ed seems to be looking for school committees to put in place policies as opposed to create regulations. And when we look at this policy, it's incredibly prescriptive on their part. So basically, we're putting in a policy that represents what would have been in the past regulation. So I'd like to take a look. If we could have a discussion next meeting and potentially then pass it, I'll upload it to the state, and we'll be in compliance with this particular component.
Okay, thank you. And just so I'm clear, you are not requesting a vote tonight. You're allowing us an opportunity to discuss this for informational.
It's an informational item. Yeah, a discussion at the next meeting would be great. And this would be one of those components that if there isn't any kind of objection, I would ask that you simply vote it at the conclusion of the discussion so that we can submit it to the state and just put ourselves in compliance.
All right, but that can happen at our next meeting?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for
Thank you.
providing that clarity. Any questions for the policy committee or Mr. Ford around this policy? I know that I really appreciated the additional information as a parent. I found this extremely helpful, the additional context, so I appreciate that level of detail.
And if I could just add one thing?
Absolutely.
We already do all these things in the policy. So this isn't something that's new to us. We're just actually framing what we currently do
Right.
in the form of a policy.
The Stoughton was one of 6 middle schools that developed the middle school MyCap standards in Massachusetts back in 15, 16, or 16, 17. Yeah, just to say that.
Just an odd fact you happen to know off the top of your
Who's the
head.
principal then? Who was the
Yeah,
principal?
yeah.
Who was that? What was his name?
Boston, somewhere down the Cape, I think, Barnstable.
No.
Just saying.
Excellent. All right, thank you so much. Policy Working Group. I've been saying committee, my bad. Excellent. And then I know that we need a discussion on Policy FF. This is not coming through the policy committee. This is coming from the superintendent because we are in a unique position that we will have a new building, a new playground, and other items that we need to name. And the reason we're reviewing this policy is to assess the process that we want to follow for naming school buildings and other assets. But I know that this policy has some background behind it. Dr. Baeta, can you provide us with the background on the existing policy and what we need to consider going forward?
Yeah, Madam Chair, thank you through to the rest of the committee. You have a written policy that was established in 2019, which was literally from the file the last time that you went through the committee, the then school committee went through these processes. So you've, to date, one of the things that happened with the new high school is we had certain parts of the new high school that the names needed to be placed somewhere else in the new building or somewhere else. For example, the school committee room is here in this room, and right outside is the Dr. Murray. So the policy speaks to how to go through that process of the moving. So what I did is I went through and just picked out all of the regular meetings where all this stuff has been taking place. And so we've had, through the years, the big ticket items have been the Wilkins, the most recent renaming of a school, the Hanson prior to that, and the Daw. Those have been our three big pictures. You're in a unique circumstance this time because you are closing a building and building a new building. And so therefore, you have the opportunity to open up this process to whatever way you would like under your policy, which is very clear as to the naming of something, of a school after someone. It's outlined. I don't know if you got a chance to read it, but it's a petition situation, number of signatures, there's got to be rationale and so on and so forth. In the case of, let's just say you're naming it the South Elementary School, then that's literally a process in itself that you can make as a committee, and you can just do it if you wanted to. In general, when you name anything, the process is you open it up to the public and take, quote, advice from the public. If people are going to say, let's make it the Jonathan Ford Elementary School, then the fact of the matter is, then that would require a petitioned process according to your article. If you're keeping it, then the argument could be that you're just doing that. You're keeping it as the South Elementary School. It's just got a different address, and you're just taking that vote. You're not opening yourself up to that process. You're just, you're not calling it the new South Elementary School. You're just keeping the name. You can utilize that as well. It becomes a lot more, I'm going to use the word favorable, or not favorable, but flavorable in terms of what will happen if somebody wants to name it after someone. You could have a number of organizations come forth on behalf of anyone or everybody connected to Stoughton Public Schools, or a lot of schools. I actually worked in a district that was the first district in the nation, Holbrook, Mass., first district in the nation to name an elementary school after the assassination of John F. Kennedy. The John F. Kennedy Elementary School in Holbrook was the first in the country. So some schools have changed their local names to, for example, adding something to do with the veterans. Veterans Memorial Elementary School, Veteran Memorials Middle School, Veteran Memorials. So it's named after literally those that are served our nation from the town of Stoughton. So there's a lot of different avenues. Here's the kicker. We're going to be breaking ground in this school at some point, and we need some signage that clarifies what's going to happen. So there's no decision tonight. I just wanted to put it on the table for you we need to stop putting it on the agenda that we are going to go through a naming process. And then there could be people that come forward. You'll also have, in the past, there's been playgrounds that have been named after prior employees and citizens, and so on. So you have a pretty detailed policy from 2019, because clearly at the time there wasn't, I don't think, much of one. Recently, it hasn't been controversial, but it has been controversial as well. There's been some controversy around naming of schools and so on and so forth, and certain names coming forward and then nothing happening with those names, and that's a really awkward process. Versus South School is South School and South Stoughton. Doesn't matter if it's old or new, right? That would be a lot simpler, but there may be people out there that are interested in having you at least think about something. I don't know that to be true, but I wanted to make sure that you had this information so that as we get to the point of saying, what do you want to do with the South School name, you will say, okay, we're going to have this debate, and then whatever the debate is, you make a motion and you go with it.
So, thank you, Dr. Baedo. So I open it up for discussion of the committee, just wanting to know, in terms of a next step, what is the will of the committee?
I have a question and a comment, if I may. My first question is, for this current South School, is there any part of the building or on the grounds that's currently named after anybody that needs to be transferred?
I don't know that, but I will seek that.
I think my comment is, I think there's really many deserving Stoughton previous residents who has passed and Stoughton future residents that are still alive or haven't even come to be yet that would be very deserving of a building name. Once you put a name to a building, it's there for decades upon decades, cannot be changed, and the world moves on, the world changes. I also find it to be very controversial to name a building after a person. And the town is very divisive, as it is currently, and I don't think it would be in the best interest of the town to go through a combative process of picking a name and having those discussions online, because no matter what name we choose, it's going to be a bad choice to somebody. So I think the South Elementary School is a great, perfect name, if that's my opinion.
As an alumni of the South School, and many of my friends are alumni of the South School, we've had this discussion with fears of them naming it after some people that were principals there that we did not want to see. And everybody agrees pretty much with Jillian that we just need to leave it the South School, that we've renamed so many schools in town. We were just talking about the North, the Daw being the North, and the West being the Wilkins, and we went to Stoughton Junior High, not, the O'Donnell Middle School, and they've all been great people named after. But I agree with Jillian, we just need to leave this one the South.
Are we discussing that now?
Are
we discussing the name of it now?
No, just opinions.
Opinions.
We're discussing our opinions about what it should be named?
Yeah. Thoughts?
I liked the John Ford school.
It's funny that I've
was
had
great.
this discussion with friends who went to the South School with me.
Yeah, I don't know if we should be having this discussion now.
Go on,
I'm sorry.
The full intent is simply to put this on your radar, that you will be having to make decisions sooner than later.
Is your recommendation to send this to the policy working group?
Yes.
Okay, that being said, you wrote this? No, you didn't. This is from 2019.
Correct.
But you've recently read it.
I did.
Because I have not read this recent, but I'm going to ask you, does this doesn't change or take the authority of the school committee to be the sole ones to name the school, or any part of it?
Yeah, it's up to the school committee to name your buildings as a
Okay.
majority vote of the school committee.
Okay, so I would just ask that when this does go to the policy working group, that language is clear on that the end, no matter how many signatures, the end result is the school committee makes the decision, whether there was 6 votes, or whether there was 6,000 or 30,000 for John Ford School.
Jonathan Douglas Ford School is probably.
All right, I look forward to seeing what the policy working group does with this.
So my request to the policy working group is maybe review the policy FF, dedication of facilities. I know that it specifically names a process if the public wants to name the building after a person, but I am wondering if the policy working group could consider that for any proposed name, even if it's to keep it South Elementary School, that perhaps they go through the same process so that we can hear the people's voice in the naming of the building. It does belong to the town, as the town is paying for it. So any other comments, questions about policy FF? Yes.
Yeah, go on.
Armando?
No, you've been quiet.
I like my colleague's comment. Actually, I thought about this a lot when we started this process with the school, and I thought of a person to be named. But given the environment, I would say given the current environment, not just in Stoughton, but in the entire country, it may be wise at this point to, if the working group would consider perhaps of the people who vote for a specific thing that they, if they're going to win or name it after someone that it's a high majority, 80–90% of the people want it voted for a specific name. That way we sort of get rid of some of the controversy, or if they don't meet that threshold, then we keep it as South Elementary School, just for the working group to consider. This is my thoughts.
Thank you. Yes, Ms. Powers.
I would highly advise against doing that. Again, I'm going to say that the authority of naming a school goes to the school committee, not 90% of the people who responded. I mean, we would take that into consideration as a school committee. We'd say, listen, a lot of people seem to like this.
That's all I'm asking, consideration.
Consideration, absolutely. I think that the majority
Agree.
of us would absolutely think that that's a great idea, but that doesn't mean that that's the way that we're going to go. And I would also say that my understanding is that this isn't the South School, this is the Wilkins South School. Am I correct on that? That the Wilkins School is also going into this new, so this isn't just the South, this is the South Wilkins.
So the Wilkins Elementary School right now is to be maintained as a school. So there's no recommendation to change that name in terms of.
I see.
So right now, it's still the Wilkins Elementary School. It potentially is going to house preschool and administration. And that's what happened at the Jones.
Won't be anymore.
So, and the Jones School wouldn't be. So you're really looking at I mean, you can do whatever you want. At the end of the day, it's when the time comes, I'm just suggesting that you need to make sure that you cross your Ts and you dot your Is.
I mean, one of the things
Suggestion.
I think that is good in this policy is if we decide to keep it the South School, there is a way to name the cafeteria or, the library or something else, so we can take into that fact. And maybe we need to bring in the Jones somewhere, into that building, and maybe it's
I'll
to
get
name
the
the cafeteria after
you.
them or something, yeah.
It's going to be a good debate.
Yep.
Okay, excellent. Moving on, Dr. Bayet, I believe that we have some capital school department articles.
Yes, thank you so much. Real quickly, enjoy your reading. The capital report is done. Thank you to you.
Point of
Thank
order
you to-
before we start?
Yes.
I am sorry to interrupt you, but there is something new on this agenda that I didn't recognize, which says preferred motion, approve fiscal year 27 capital school department articles. I actually see this 5 times, 6 times, 7 times. What does preferred motion mean 7 times on the agenda?
Simply means it's the recommended motion, a lot of times based on a recommendation from the administration or the superintendent, that it is just informational for the school committee. We can accept that, we can alter it, we can reject it or not make the motion, but often committee members want to know, as you asked earlier, what is the exact motion that you are looking for. So it's just a way of providing that for efficiency purposes.
So this is, Joe, this is Dr. Bayetta, this is your preferred, you want someone to say this? Is that what's being written here?
So as you take a look at these items, all of these items come as a recommendation from the superintendent of schools. In other words, I go through the process of making sure that everything is lined up for a final recommendation for you to consider either up or down. And then you can also add to that motion. So I could say, for example, I'm recommending the FY27 Capital School Department articles as written. You could say, well, I'd like to make this change. And then if you got the votes, you just make that change. That's that's what's meant by preferred.
Preferred motion approve. So it's not preferred motion for the capital articles. I mean, it doesn't say preferred motion disapprove. I suppose that'd be weird. But I mean, it says preferred motion open executive session. That isn't whose preferred motion is that? Acceptance of minutes. Who preferred that one?
So those would be mine.
You prefer those. So you put down your preferred motions. on what you want us to.
It's no different than what was there before. It's just the title before it said motion, comma, roll call, comma, vote.
Right, well, preferred means that that's what you prefer us to do. I mean, I understand what preferred means. I just don't agree with it on there. You're not, mic isn't on?
The superintendent is making the recommendation of the proper language to make the motion. That would be the superintendent's preferred language. And then we take that into consideration whether we want that language or not. But normally, when we have a motion, it's sometimes hard to come up with the proper language that suits what we're trying to do.
So you're
this
telling, so
preference-
this is telling us what you want us to put in as a motion. You're giving us the motion.
This is my consideration
His-
based on what I
his
know to the
advice,
committee.
yeah.
It's my advice to the committee, of which the committee can change it,
Yeah.
or reject it,
Yeah.
or approve it.
Yeah, it's not telling us how to vote. It's just if we want to vote, this is what the motion would be.
Never seen that before.
Actually, I like that idea because it helps us with the language, and we can go quicker. And of course, we can always strike that language and put in whatever we as school committee member wants to.
Dr. Vieira?
Thank you. I provided this to you. Of course, you don't have to take it home. You could leave it here, and we could put your name on it, and you could just leave it here. But here's the intent. We have never had such a detailed report that gets into really every single school except for the South School. We kept the South out except for emergency situations because of the situation we're in. And yet, everybody else is here, including the high school, right? And what I want you to, when we bid this out, Bureau Veritas got it. They were on site numerous times from numerous days at the buildings, and they literally have been going through every single part of our facilities. There's pictures in here of the issues and so on and so forth. So that's part one. Part two, we've itemized it, right? Took out all the pictures and all that stuff, itemized it, and we now have. You don't have this because I was just trying to keep away from the paper, so happy to do it. But what we now have, and it's also very difficult to read because it's so small, but we have, over the course from, so this is people that came in, HVAC systems, floorings, roofs, you name it, they were looking at it. What we have here, over the next 20 years is about, at current cost, about $268 million worth of updates to make. Okay? Current cost. So what we've done is we've taken this out long period, but now what we'll do is we'll take a concentration. This will be predominantly under Julie's leadership in the future, and Dennis and Heidi. They'll take this and say, okay, out of all of these things that are on here, and I'll just use one. There's let's say there's $500,000 in year one of requests. Are those the requests that we really want to go forward, or did something actually just break? And all of a sudden it becomes a priority that we have to deal with. So what you now have, because we had to work on this prior to the report being done, is you have in the articles before you, we have sent up for the purposes of starting our process this year's capital items request. Those items are addressed under each as an article. As you can see from Article 1, 2, and 3, 5 and 6, we have targeted the OMS. It is the school that has the biggest need, and it's the school that we have to do some work to in order to keep it open until we have an MSBA project, which we know will probably not be in a statement of interest until the end of this decade, beginning of the next. Probably 31, 32. As the high school comes off in, I believe it's 36 or 38, is the idea, if we can last. So exterior interior door replacement at OMS, $230,000. Classroom window shade replacement at OMS, $45,000. AED boxes, this is throughout the district, $13,000. Card access and vestibule updates, $50,000. Again, we were not specifics to the schools, some of this because of safety issues. Number one, right, we don't publicize that. But number two, also giving us flexibility on where is the priority right now. If it comes in at $50,000, I might only be able to do one, not two. So that's the idea. And then Article 5 is the rooftop units at OMS for $35,000. Article 6, replacement of exterior decking at OMS. This is in the back of the building where the modulars are. Smart panel projector updates. This is district-wide for $436,330. I have also suggested that that could be broken up over 2 years by spending $219. Again, that'll depend on a lot of things, like how much money is available to the school department for articles, or to the town. And then the curveball one, the Wilkins Elementary School Green Schools Work Grants Decarbonization Project that I presented to you last year for $2.7 million. The price is it's more than twice the amount. But here's what we've done. Today, we filed another grant for $3 million. So we will get those grant results probably by town meeting. It's supposed to be May. If we get those results and it's all fully paid for, we just pull this article. If it's short $100,000, we just ask for $100,000 and see if we can do it. Right now, the decarbonization of which is new heating system and ventilation and all that stuff at the Wilkins, would mean that school is long-term in a really great place, because you're eliminating your steam, heat, and all of that stuff. Plus, you're adding airflow, which is something that would be our third elementary school. Dodd done, Gibbons done. That would be the Wilkins, and of course the new school. And you get your high school, which literally means OMS is the last one that doesn't have that, which long-term planning for 50 years is fantastic. So we wrote this article this way. It is included both the special town meeting and the town meeting for May, thanks to Mark's work and his group. But we recognize that we don't know what the numbers are yet. We haven't gone through that process, how much is available to the schools. So we may have to reprioritize some of this. But right now, the funding sources seem like they could be here, except for this last article, which we hope would be zero, but maybe it's only $200,000, which would mean a $6 million project for the town got paid through a state grant, not federal grant. So I'm asking, and there's attached materials, so I'm seeking your vote.
Dr. Ada, one thing I know I've only just quickly been able to
Yeah.
flip through this, but every single school in here says it has a poor roof. Should we be
Yes.
concerned about that?
Yeah,
I mean,
so there's two parts to the roof. That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. There's two parts to the roofs. We also have had the roofs, and I'll have Dennis come in one of these days for a meeting. We've also had the roofs looked at no cost by a third party for the purposes of looking at, are there parts of the roof that can be replaced and give us another 20 years or 15 years, i.e. OMS, right? Or do we start to look at the accelerated repair process of MSBA? If you recall, MSBA has the regular project for a new school or a renovation of a school with an addition. Those are the three things you can do. Or you can do the accelerated repair, which is a process where you file by literally, I think it's right around this time, and you get a yes or no, and you can get the project done literally in the summer. Many of roofs are done that way, boilers are done that way, and usually those come in at about 40 to 60% grant from the state. So the borrowing you have to do for that, or one-time capital cost, could be. Our issue that we have is that some of our buildings, i.e., I'll use OMS because that's on the top. That's the one that I've been concentrating on the most, because I'm trying to set it up where we know that we have to spend some money there to keep that building going forward for probably a decade. We've had all kinds of different parts of that roof fixed at some point or another. So the question is, if you know you're going out for a potential MSBA project, you would not be doing a new roof at OMS. At best, you would be borrowing or getting capital money to take care of this section that's not doing well. You would not go out. Why? Because you need to show, in order to get your grant and get that grant back, you're going to have to show 20 years of it being utilized, or as MSBA is going to say, we need our money back. We don't want to go through that process. So the idea now is myself and Dennis are working on providing the big picture items, those, like you just said, Jen, those items that are going to cost millions of dollars. So we know we got boiler issues, we know we got roof issues, we know we have window issues. Those are three big ones. Within that, as you know, 24 classrooms just a couple of weeks ago at OMS didn't have heat at one point, right? Wilkins School yesterday for a couple of hours didn't have heat because one of the valve went. Those are emergency calls all the time. So one of the things the capital plan doesn't talk about, but I think we should do, is we should have a preventative maintenance line item that is a yearly cost of going out and really figuring out how quickly do we need to get this done. If we know, for example, we're down to one boiler in this building. That boiler goes, we're all working from home, and I gotta find a place to put the kiddos, because you wouldn't have any heat in here in the middle of the summer. So for tonight, it's supporting this article, and I do ask for support vote. The idea is that this process will now begin to be a process that no longer has to start in December. We can now start our capital improvement planning literally over the summer, and you guys can be voting on capital items by October, way before town meeting even comes into play. That's the goal. Let me rephrase that. That's the goal I would leave for you and the superintendent-elect. Thank you.
Any questions?
I have a comment. Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance, it's on, thanks, to go through all of this.
Of course.
But, and the information may be contained in here, but I was hoping we can get a list of maybe the 5 top priorities.
Yes.
1, must be done and must be done now, safety, or roofs coming in, or whatever the case may be. And then it must be done within, 6 months, or whatever the case may be. And then priority 2, very important, has to be done within 2 years. Priority 3.
So if you really quickly, just because of time, but if you quickly just turn to the first one, which is the high school. Right?
Uh-huh.
We'll just go there to the first one. If you flip to, Julie, I didn't make a copy for you because you can have my copy, since you're moving into the seat. But it just talks really quickly right away. Key findings, you'll see it on page 7, and it says right away, repairs per man-day Stoughton High School Stadium, $6,900. That elevator is a priority. That's the one on the football field. Priority, the plumbing system, cost is $4,300. And they even give you a date of recommendation. It's just this came in later afterwards. So plumbing system, we got 1 unit that's a failed condition, $1,400. These are the things on a new school we want to start dealing with right away. But some of these items are not capital items because they're not at least X number of dollars, right? The capital items require, we would have to make an argument to put this into our maintenance department budget and then tackle it from there. You're not going to get a capital item for $1,900. I believe the capital item is 10. It's either 5 or 10, I'm not sure. I think it's 10,000 or more, and a life expectancy of typically it's 15 or 20 years.
Yeah.
So a fixture like that for $1,400 wouldn't be on our capital plan. But if we had every school with fixture problems and it totaled $12,000, you could make that a capital item and say, we're going to do the 6 schools fixtures, broken fixtures that we have for 1 item. That could happen because you're taking the same concept that you're trying to fix, but just doing it district-wide. You actually see that in our language that we always propose, which is we except for OMS this year, we tried to stay away from labeling schools because anything can change from one day to the other, but that's where the money will go, to answer your question. So that's just an example of that. And this is just a more itemized one. This is so hard to read. We're trying to figure out a better format so it explodes out, so because it's like ants. So.
And Armando, just looking at page 15, it looks like they did try to map out like
Yes.
what needs to happen immediately versus short-term, near-term, mid-term, and long-term.
And the topics on the left side are generally the same thing, right? So HVAC system, you can pull them from every school and then say to yourself, oh my goodness, we have $389,000 worth of HVAC things that are short-term fixes.
Yeah.
That type of
Good.
language.
Good, it's in here, yes. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Any other questions? Oops, Ms. Powers?
First of all, this is quite an effort. So I thank you for doing this, because long-term, this is excellent for the schools, excellent for the town.
Right.
So I can't thank you and your team enough for putting this together. This is a monumental effort. I'd like to go back to the capital articles. And starting with Article number 1, which be the exterior and interior door replacement at the middle school for $230,000. And my understanding as I was reading through it is, maybe you don't know it, but That's 27 doors that are getting replaced?
So it's going to vary because some of the doors are more expensive than others. So for example, I can think of one door right now that's a double exit door that has to be done. That's probably going to come in at, that door alone is probably coming in at 22 to 25,000.
Sure, they're expensive.
So that's going to be the issue. So we have a general ballpark, and then what we do is we take the money, we have to go out for low bid process anyways, and what we try to do is get the best contractor to come in and give us the most bang for our buck, which we prioritize. So we prioritize the areas that we think are, A, a safety concern, security concern, and then two, that would be better for things like heat, right? So if you have this door that's old and it's got a gap that's 1.5 inches, you're not going to put that together because the door's falling apart. You're going to prioritize that because you're looking at your heat, as one example.
Because we have a quote, I think, for all 27 doors.
Correct, because we're targeting those, but you got to remember that we still have to go out to this process. This is our guide. This quote is our guide.
Okay, so this has not gone out to bid?
Correct.
I
It does
see.
not go out to bid until after July.
But it is 27 doors that you've identified?
That's what we've identified. It could be that we end up with 29. Could be that we end up with 21. We don't know that yet. So we're using this company information to provide us a roundabout number of targeting that information.
Okay,
And that's done for everything, by the way.
okay, so you haven't identified the doors that need to be done necessarily as much as you thinking that a bunch of doors need to be done.
So from Dennis to me, the idea is walk in the building and saying, needs to be done, needs to be done. But we also have, the vendors will also, they could actually, correct me if I'm wrong, but during the process, they can come out and do a walkabout and say, and put a bid on it as well. So there'll be, we don't know yet. That's the problem. This is what we're thinking. If you recall, that's the reason why most articles actually send back money, or we have to request more money. It's either one or the other.
Okay, all right, thank you for that. For Article 2, classroom window shade replacement at the middle school for $45,000, which, as someone who works in a school, I can say these shades are necessary. Yes, thank you, Mr. Colantonio. Yes, they are so necessary. But are we, for $45,000, are we replacing every single shade in?
Only
Okay.
$45,000 worth, and it'll be targeting.
Only 45,000?
And it'll be targeting areas that are also part of our safety report.
Okay. Do you know how many shades?
I don't know if they put the actual.
I don't think they did,
I
but that
don't-
just seems like an awful lot of shades.
Well, you got, the shades are well over, they're pretty significant cost.
Okay. So there aren't any like salvageable shades, like some are
This says
pretty good.
approximately 241 clutch shades with 1% material cost.
How many shades are in that school?
Sorry, it's been a while.
It's been oh, really? Has it been that long removed for you? Mr. HR?
More than 5 shades.
More than 5, bigger
And
than a
there's
bread
different,
box.
and there's different size windows. Remember that too.
Okay.
I was saying, I just
Yeah.
wanted to point out, when we do go out to bid, you don't know if the vendor who gave us like that working quote is even going to get the bid.
You want a microphone?
I'm sorry, well, I'm pretty loud.
No, just so that everyone can hear you,
Yeah,
that's
no, I-
all. No, I appreciate your feedback.
No, I just wanted to say on this and any of the items we're talking about in general of every year, that we try to get, a vendor to give us kind of a ballpark, which is really what these are. By the time we go out, of course, prices can change, but not only that, this vendor may or may not bid the work when the time comes. So we may have a vendor who comes in less expensive to be able to do more quantity. And the point that Dr. Baeta was making, if it's $45,000, once we get the bid, we'll get as much as we can with $45,000, but it may be more or less, same with the doors. We can't know that until the bids come in. So I just wanted to sort of frame that out for
But it's sort of the
people.
same process that Dennis Rigo goes through and says, yeah, probably this is ripped and that's hung up and
Yes,
that
he'll-
one's not working and.
He'll
this-
prioritize.
This room doesn't have any.
Yeah, he'll prioritize, based on, of course, looking at them, but also like service history if they're constantly having to be fixed and realigned and they get crooked and things like that. So he'll have that information to prioritize, yes.
All right, thank you, Heidi, appreciate that. I have additional question for number 3. Article number 3 is additional, I think there's 2 additional, and replace the AEDs, which is the automatic defibrillators. And these are they set around the whole district, or is it specifically in the high school, middle school?
Every building.
Every building needs them replaced.
In this particular article.
And we need two more.
We wrote additional and replace only because they're going like this. We know we have a bunch of them that need to replace this summer because their end of life is 2026. So that's what we're targeting.
Okay. And the two additional ones, I think I saw they were going to the high school?
I believe you're correct.
One for OMS and one for the
Okay. And, yeah, I would like to know where the placement are. And the reason I ask is because I know that the softball field and the baseball field are located fairly good distance. And if there's a pitcher that gets hit by a ball, it would be nice to have one of these AEDs close. So I'd like to know how close they are to the fields.
We recognize that. So our trainer, in fact, has a carry at all times. The placement of these literally in a field is currently not recommended for a number of different reasons. And I can defer to Julie, who knows a little bit more about that.
We do have a bunch of portable AEDs for the high school. So our athletic trainer has one. There's some extras, not extras, but some that is stored in the athletic training area so that teams can bring them out to the field. And our fine arts can also bring them out to the fields because marching band is a fairly physical endeavor.
But they don't get hit by balls.
No, but we do have portables, and we do have some that are stationed, that are hardwired into the building. There's several in several key locations within the building. I'm not sure which one needs to be replaced specifically, or which additional we need, but we have hardwired and portables.
Can I just ask, is the athletic trainer out there during all practices?
During all practices, no, she's walking around, she's in her office, she's everywhere.
Okay, so if there's an issue during practice
Mm-hmm.
where one of these would be needed, does the coach, like, how would someone get hold of one of these? Like, if a coach is just out there, a softball coach is out there, and all of a sudden we need,
I can double check, but I have a feeling they bring them out with all their team supplies, but I can double check for you.
yeah, I would appreciate that. That's a real possibility
Yeah.
out there.
Mhm.
In the football field, is there one in the house out there? Is that where it would be?
I do not believe there's a hardwired in the concession building. Again, they would have a portable on the field.
During practices also?
Again, I'll double check, but I believe they do.
During practices?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But
Do
we'll
I have to
verify.
ask about the soccer, the soccer field too? Because I know, and track is out there, so I just want to make sure that our sports, not just the interior, but
Right.
our sports also have some of these. If
Right.
we're looking at adding some.
The recommendation is travel. We do have a number of them. The recommendation is that when you're on a field, you're taking it with you unless you're literally located right next to like a basketball court that would have one.
Sure. I just
Interior.
want to
Yep.
make sure that if we're ordering new ones, that the thought has been put in that we have fields that are located off-site, not necessarily as far as some, but they're still off-site, and if practice is going on and there's an issue on the field, that our athletic trainer with that AED is there. Because it's no sense in having a new one if they can't get hold of it.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so that's the AEDs. What?
Follow on to your question.
Yeah, go on, whatever.
Yeah, that brought, what when we loan out the field to some other organization, do they bring their own, or do they use ours, or are we liable?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different ways to look at that, right? So, it would be either A, they're bringing their own, or B, we're setting it up for them. But in many cases, the utilization of a third party within the building is a 911 call.
Oh.
That's the typical response, would be a 911 call.
That's a really good question, because we have the lacrosse team that just asked to use that field. So that was a really good question.
I can just give you a little bit more from
Oh, great.
our Director of Nursing, Danielle Gallen. She had written a little while back that we have 14 building AEDs and 14 athletics/portable AEDs. So
28.
I just wanted to add that if it helps.
Thank you for that.
I just want to make sure that they're accessible when they're needed. But it's a good point of, we have some student athletes that are not part of Stoughton schools that are out there also. So I noticed that on them, they are ordering, or they have put in for order, adult AEDs, which may be great for the high school, but I didn't see any difference in the elementary schools. Maybe that's something that we can't answer, but
Yeah,
I
I don't
wonder,
know.
you can't use an adult AED on a first grader.
Right. Yeah, I don't have an answer for you, but we can ask that question.
Yeah, I would just want to make sure that if we're going to get AEDs, we get age-appropriate. I don't even know if you can use one of those on a child.
I think they do have the children's, a smaller one, because I've looked into them myself too. But, for the kids, of course, but also it's for all, I'm sorry. Of course, we would need them for kids, but also all of the staff. So I think the adult ones are, probably the most risk, I would say, as an adult. Maybe that's just my own thoughts, but I do recall having a verbal conversation with Ms. Gallen that we do have pediatric ones too, and I actually had a conversation, looking into it myself too. My family is head of EMS and fire chief or whatever too in another town, so I had that conversation with them too, and it's very difficult to get you can get interchangeable within the box for the sizes sometimes. So we could look in if that's what we have, that the box is one, but there's different things that you can put on. So we can look
Thank
into
you.
that.
Appreciate
Let you know.
that. Yeah, I'd like to know, at least ensure that if we're buying all new AEDs, that we're getting the age-appropriate ones for the elementary schools. For Article 4, I know you said, I think I heard you say that we weren't really doing much for the South School for obvious reasons, but I did notice that there is card access and vestibule, $15,000 for the South School.
Yeah, one of the things we're trying to do is just maintain, I won't get into a lot of details, but we're still maintaining safety. That's the idea, is to try to address some of the safety issues that we have. You got to remember that building's been dealing with a lot of these issues for a number of years and hasn't been addressed. And so we feel compelled that we have to do something. I'll leave it at that.
So this says additional card access and vestibule updates. So that's just passes to get in? and
Those
out
cards
of-
are like keys. They
Keys,
allow you into the
okay.
building.
Okay, so that's why they're so
So
expensive.
very much like,
Yep.
they're a little different, but like my ID has it in it. I can get
Sure.
into any building without.
Okay, all right, so we did include the South School on that, maintaining a semblance of safety for that school. And if we go down to Article 7, I know smart boards are very expensive.
Yep.
And we have, what school was this for? Was this just for the middle school, I think?
Off the top of my head,
This is Article 7.
it's divided, Article 7 starts, the first school is the Gibbons. Then it moves on, I believe, to, I didn't check them off, but it's each of our elementaries. It goes to the DAW. It is also, again, I'm just looking at the different schools. These were prioritized in terms of need because of their shelf life is at an end. All of it, all the elementaries.
All elementary
Yep.
schools?
I said I haven't seen South, but all of it, yeah.
Okay. So are we replacing all of them? This is $436,000.
Yes, these are shelf life issues. They are dying left and right. And by dying, I mean they can't be used.
All of them?
Not all of them, but their shelf life, so you got to remember, most of these purchases, when they're done in bulk. So if you buy 50 at a time, you're going to lose the 50 roughly at the same time, depending on how much they're used. So that's what you're seeing with this situation here. We're being careful about the expenditure at the South. That doesn't mean they won't get any, because there could be but we know that the new school is going to have brand new ones in every classroom.
Okay, so when you said that all of these, so I just want to make it clear for my own brain. Every classroom is getting a new one? Or
So-
were they identified?
Yeah, so for example, you've got just Gibbons Elementary School, we have 75-inch flat panel interactive displays, 26 of them.
Yep.
So we got 26 rooms that are being targeted to be replaced. And then it goes right down the line, every single school.
How many rooms are there in the Gibbons classrooms?
That's probably a little bit more than half.
There's about 50 classrooms?
Yeah, roughly.
And about half of them need the
Probably a
new-
little less than that, probably closer to 40. Yeah.
I mean, I know they get hard use. Listen,
Yeah.
like I said, a lot of people don't know. I'm asking this because people are going to look at these articles and they're going to say, what? $436,000. They get a lot of use, and these electronics break. So I just want to make sure I'm asking the question.
Yep.
I am preemptively asking questions. So this is probably half the Gibbons School is going to get new smart boards because do you have any idea how old these smart boards are?
I don't have the age in front of me, but again, I can absolutely tell you that what's come down is we're starting to shut them off because there's no way to fix them, there's no pieces for them, so on and so forth. It's not worth it. But I can ask the question of.
I mean, after 3 years, any of these are outdated. They're basically computers that the teachers use with the students that no one really uses those
I'll send
whiteboards
out-
anymore
yep,
either.
I'll send out emails to the full committee with all those questions.
And for number 8, this is you're thinking that we're going to get a state grant for this. Probably coming in 2 different years?
So we currently have $2.7 million. We will begin to implement $2.7 million of upgrades to the Wilkins School. However, that doesn't complete the project. We're short about 3 to 3.5, somewhere in that market. So therefore, the idea is.
3.5 million, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
We
3.5
filed
million.
a $3 million grant today, literally today. That's due on the 13th, Friday, through our consultant who works on behalf of the town and the schools with all of this renewable energy and all that stuff. And if we get that grant, then we are going to be either fully safe or we'll be shy a couple $100,000. So the article had to meet a deadline to Mark Tisdale, who's in charge of this stuff with the town. So that's the reason why the article was written the way it's written. It could be completely pulled. If we don't get the $3 million, we're going to complete the $2.7 million and have to find another way to get the remaining $3 million done. But we're not going to turn back a $2.7 million upgrade to our facilities.
Okay, so it is possible that we don't get this $3 million grant to cover the $3.5 million needed to
Up to
complete this.
3.5, yeah.
Up to
We don't know.
3.5.
We're being told that the decisions on it will be done by May. Now, I don't know if that's May 1st, right prior to town meeting, or if it's May 31st. So we may have to pull back the article, but if the money comes in, then I don't need town meeting anyways.
So if the money doesn't come in, what are we going to be asking?
If the money doesn't come in, we will not be seeking the remaining $3.1 million. There's no way to do that right now. What we would do is complete the $2.7 million of the best work for the building, and then continue to file for the grants, or move it to our capital to complete it and/or borrow.
Got it. All right, thank you for all of that.
You bet.
Any other questions?
No, Chris, I'd like to make a motion to approve the 27 capital school department articles.
All right, motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, and that motion was made by Jen Sears. The second was Armando. Motion has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Aye.
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 I'm sorry, can I just have do we have a grand total for all of these? We're setting all 8 articles.
Yes.
And do we have a grand total of what we're asking the town?
It's on the bottom.
845,000?
Yes, and that does not include anything to do with Article 8.
That's just 1 through 7. It
Correct.
does say that, 1 through 7. And is that, how how is that compared to other years? Do you happen to know?
Up and down. I mean, in general, right now, remember that we are no longer utilizing currently any funding from free cash for the purposes of operational.
Right.
Which
Just-
means all of these funds are available potentially to do capital items.
Point of order, we are in the middle of a roll call vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
I don't have all the information, so I'm going to say no.
Yes. All right, so motion carries 4-1. Excellent. Moving on to the next item, it's a field trip request from DECA. You've heard a lot
Chris?
about DECA tonight, yes.
Chris, can we take all three of the field trips as one thing?
We can, and I learned a neat trick from the Pilgrim Area Collaborative. Not only can we, would I entertain a motion to bundle all three field trip requests, we can bundle them and approve them with one vote.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
I make a motion that we bundle all three field trip requests as one, and that we approve them. Did I say it okay? I know that probably came out bad, I'm sorry.
I think that works. We need to, yeah, and I think that's all we need to do, correct?
Second.
Okay, and we have a second from Armando, so that was Jen Sears who made the motion to bundle and then move to accept all three field trip requests. And Armando seconded. Any discussion?
What is the cost to the district?
There's no cost to the district. Each one does specify where the funds are coming from for each request.
So the DECA one says that it's paid from the business account? We lost our business.
Paid
lady.
by the students and from the business account and DECA account, so.
Yep, so the two chaperones cost busing total is $10,000. $1,700 about is paid from the business account, and then a portion paid from the DECA account. So I'm just wondering, the business account, that's through the district?
Yes.
That's a district. Okay,
Yes.
so there is a cost to the district, but it's only $1,700.
Correct.
Thank you for clarifying that. Was that the only one? Can't seem to find the third one. I know that the one,
So it's one to, O'Donnell Middle School is being paid for by it said the funds, like the raising
Okay.
funds to do it. Students will pay, okay, back up.
And student council is paid entirely by the
Okay.
fundraising.
all right, all right. I am good, thank you. And I'm fine with the 1,700. I have a business account too.
Okay.
Worth it.
Any other discussion? All right, we have a motion on the table that has been moved and seconded. Hearing no other discussion, roll call vote.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Jen, for that. Moving on to old business items, we have the revised draft school calendars and feedback in your packet. And I think the feedback very clearly shows favoritism for option A, which is a start, I believe, on August 31st, with the first day of school to students being September 2nd.
Correct.
Prior to Labor Day.
Can I make a motion to approve draft A of the 2026-2027 school calendar?
You may. So that was Jillian DeStefano, seconded by Jen Sears. Motion has been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Thank you to everyone who filled out a survey. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for the overwhelming response.
And it did go out in multiple languages.
Yep. Okay, hearing none, a roll call vote.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 5-0. Quick update on the principal search.
Yes, absolutely. So there were 8 candidates selected to be interviewed. 7 accepted that invitation. There was a committee of about 14, I believe, which was comprised of students, teachers, parent, guardians, administrators in the district, administrators at the building level, department heads, union representation, school committee representation, and 3 nights of interviews. They worked very hard to select candidates to move forward. 4 candidates rose to the top. Site visits were scheduled for last week, Tuesday through Friday. Each candidate came to Stoughton High School for pretty much a full day of school. Mr. Colantonio put together a pretty jam-packed schedule for them where they visited with the counseling department, with special ed, with EL, with parents, students, teachers, staff, administration. So they went through that process. Anyone who participated in the site visit was able to provide feedback through a Google form created by Mr. Colantonio as well. And that process has identified 2 candidates who we move forward to be named later. And we are working on scheduling some time for those candidates to meet with Dr. Baeta and myself. So we're moving right on schedule.
Excellent. Any questions? All right. Moving on to superintendent's reports and recommendations, annual school budget evolution and timeline.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just at the full committee, just try to leave you with some history, since we have some changes, and of course, the superintendent-elect will be able to work with you to make even further changes. The biggest thought that I have going forward for your consideration is that the school committee's working group or subcommittee, whatever you decide it's going to be in the future, that you start your work in October. And by that, what I mean is that you start to have those discussions as a full committee about what are we really looking to do here. Have that in an open meeting, give that to your working group, and then from there, working with the superintendent and the business office, getting a budget sooner to the school committee as much as possible. We do know that this year was a significant change in the history of Stoughton. And that change is that, there's no real, you don't really have to have your budget done completely by December 31st, right? Based on the work of Mr. Coulter and Mr. Cavey to really take a look and note that House 1 is really important to the school department, and even what's called House 2, which is when the State House comes out with it. So I'm leaving that as a consensus overview type of thing. It doesn't really mean much. I will tell you that it's a little clearer than it's been, but it continues to need more massaging. I think the biggest change is you're about to enter next year, year 3, where your budget is now totally aligned by school and then by the bigger departments. And that just is going to make it easier for both the superintendent-elect and her team, but it also long-term makes it easier for you and how you decide to present your budgets going forward. So when I go on behalf of the committee, and hopefully you'll come when we get our date in front of FinCom, my job is to really take them through the idea of the schools and what they're spending, what does it mean, and what's our staffing look like, and so on and so forth. I will be making some recommended changes on our budget based on item 2, bullet number 2, if you want me to move to that.
Yes, please.
All right, so in your packet this afternoon, I gave you a few handouts, literally off the presses. One is Roger Hass from MASS, My Association, to Mary Bork, who's the executive director, basically just talking about what we have. And really what's important for us here in Stoughton is page 2, the back of page 1. It has charts going back to FY18 in red and then a kind of orangey almond color. So we are in year 7 of the SOA. This is it, all right? And as you can see, it's the second lowest amount that the state is pushing forward. 271 school districts, I have reviewed every single one of them. 271 school districts are getting $75 per student. That's the most we've ever seen. It's under this concept, and I'm going to beat this horse, as you know, it's under this concept of declining enrollment. 15,000 students less enrolled in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Just shy of 50% of those are the shelter situation. We know as a community with open arms, we knew that eventually this could potentially hurt. So we are down 200 students. That is also outlined, if you move to the next page, to the what would be page this page here that has the actual formula. This is literally off the, and I circled one and put a line on another. So we did not move from group 9 to group 10, but we didn't move to group 8. But boy, oh boy, are we really close to group 8, which would probably cost us another $1 million. So think about that. So this being down 200 students is pretty significant. We know that approximately over that 2-year period, 170 of them were shelter students. So what I'm suggesting here is, we got $105 per those students if they came in after September 1st. After October 1st. If they were here by October 1st, they became part of the Chapter 70 Foundation budget. So that's why it's hurting us. There's a number of districts. The shelter districts are all seeing this type of decline. So what does this mean? Well, what it means for us is that we have a shortfall this year that is become larger according to this sheet that I just gave you. This is hot off the presses from our colleague Biz and the Director of Finance at the Town Hall, which basically states to us that when we look at all the numbers that were projected for our school budget, of which our shortfall is approximately $3.4 million. I think I can make that number a little lower because I want to tweak some of the personnel and enrollment numbers and all that. But we probably have another $700,000 to $800,000 shortfall. So we're now in excess of, let's just call it $4 million. I think we can come under that number. In other words, we're more in a hole today than we were yesterday. So we have to figure that out. I did meet with the chair of the Finance Committee and the vice chair, and we had a good conversation about these numbers. I will start working on enrollment issues and where can we make some changes, but we're going to have to really think long and hard about what all of this means. So that's that. Before I go to the budget freeze, or actually on the budget freeze for 26, that was solely because I wanted the business office to have some time to catch up on where we are. We are still approving any health and safety issues. We're still approving graduation stuff. We're still approving if there was a field trip that we're paying for and all that stuff. So I don't want anybody to think that we're not doing any of that. And please, the public, know that we are doing everything. We're just trying to play some catch up on how our numbers are for the rest of this year. That's the reason why I'm doing it. A little different than we've done in the past. So that's overall that. Couple of handouts that I gave you. Thank you to Mr. Ford. Thank you to the superintendent-elect. Thank you to a few other folks. The early college grant for Stoughton High School has been approved. We're getting $25,000 for this year to begin the early college process for Stoughton High School. That's a grant. Originally it was $23,839. It's now $25,000. They gave us a couple extra bucks. And those are basically stipend money for people to work to get things done. Second, I gave you a handout that I got from Murphy, Hess, Toomey, and Lehane, one of the law firms that they send out stuff. It's a open meeting minutes refresher. This is just informational. Third, the statewide graduation standards I'm providing to you. This is from the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents. This is what my association has put out, and I'm not going to get into it tonight for the sake of time, but it's a pretty interesting read in comparison to maybe some of the things you're hearing about. And then lastly, you're losing another one. Mr. Ford has sent up his formal letter of resignation for 2027. It's a long way off, but he is doing what I've done, putting it out there, so that way Julie and I will have some, the superintendent-elect and I will have some discussions over the next few months, and then she'll start to make the decision she wants to make about process for this position, earlier, later, mentoring, all of that stuff that we really haven't even discussed yet. But I wanted to make sure that you have that, and we thank him I have personally thanked him and also given him a letter thanking him for his many years of service to Stoughton Public Schools and the work that he's done to support Stoughton Public Schools continuously improve under 4 superintendents now, about to be his 5th. One was long-lasting, the other ones have all been kind of short. So that's in general. I will not get into more detail than that unless there are questions.
Questions?
This is the first time I'm looking at this, so if the chair wouldn't mind just giving me a quick second to gather my thoughts. This is a lot of information that we got in a short amount of time.
Yeah, and I'm seeking to provide you the information to put on a future agenda if you so wish. I'm not seeking for any action tonight.
Yeah, I would say we need to. Okay, so not to bump anybody, and through the chair, I do want to say thank you to Mr. Ford, who has personally tutored me in finances for many, many hours when the superintendent has been extraordinarily busy and has not had a whole lot of time that I have needed, so I appreciate all your tutelage over the years. Fantastic, fantastic guy. And you've tutored a lot of school committee members. So, go on.
Is there a question for the superintendent?
There is a question for the superintendent. When we do go through the process, when Mr. Ford's position is up, I just want to make it clear. Normally, the school committee does not vote on his position, except when it's an initial, yeah, thank you. I'm saying.
So the superintendent is hired and fired by the school committee. The superintendent recommends to the school committee in the initial hire, the assistant superintendent, the business manager, the SPED director, the school nurses, and the doctor for the district. And the regulation is clear, on the recommendation of the superintendent. That's the typical process that you see. And it's on the initial, and the reason why it's on the initial is there was a push a number of years ago by a school committee to eliminate a certain administrator's job, and it was ruled that, no, once you make the appointment, that person works for the superintendent of schools. So that's the process, the general process.
Contract after contract was my understanding.
Correct.
So it's only the first time. So just so that it's on our newer school committee members' radar, is that they will be voting for the person on that new position.
The contract of the superintendent, Ms. Powers, is the only contract that you have that you vote on the length of the contract and when it comes up. So if you want to hire me for 3 more years, you make a motion, you negotiate your 3 more years. You want to get rid of me, you get rid of me.
Mhm.
That's how the process goes.
No, I meant for
Yeah.
assistant superintendents. Now, you had, if I may continue, I don't want to step on anyone else.
Waiting for you.
You had mentioned the date of when we're supposed to have our budget. So I want to try and understand, as of right now, the way that it says in the charter, when are we supposed to have our first budget in?
I'm going to defer. The discussion that took place that I watched and also spoke to was that legal counsel for the select board reviewed the town charter and felt that the budget request of the 31st was from the town manager.
31st of?
December.
Okay.
And that it did not include necessarily the school department, which is run, quote, by its own governing board, which in this case is the school committee. In other words, you don't work, and I say this respectfully, you don't work for the select board and/or the town manager. You work as your own independent group, so therefore, the charter doesn't say school budget. It says, quote, departments. Well, we're a district. So their interpretation was we need to give the school department more time to get real numbers. In last year's real number situation, it worked out to be somewhat beneficial. This year, we're not seeing that benefit. It's a $250,000 increase right now.
So
It's actually a decrease.
just want that's new.
Yes.
In the past, there's always been a definitive date that I know there's been some issue because we don't have our numbers yet, so we have to kind of guesstimate.
Right.
Okay, so when was that initial date in previous years?
31st of December.
31st of December, okay. And the town charter says something.
I
But-
guess, I'm not an attorney, but I guess the language is somewhat ambiguous as it pertains to, does it include the school department or not?
Okay.
And because the school department, their cherry sheets on their side for their departments is not going to change because of because of the state allocation, because they get a very small amount from the state. Ours is greatly coming from the state, except for this year.
Okay, so my concern now, if now the town lawyer has decided that, in his professional view, the town charter does not give that date because we're not a town department. Now, we have the town's working group creating a financial policy from an original Collins report that we have not yet received. I have asked for it. I've not received the original Collins report, but the town has created its own financial policies after reviewing that Collins report's recommendations for Stoughton. In there, it does say that the school is supposed to put our budget to the select board on or before October 15th. That is significantly earlier. So if there isn't anything in the charter that says when we're supposed to do it, this policy is going to say when we have to do it, which is much sooner. So I'm curious to your thoughts, concerns?
Dr. Baeta,
And I would love to hear from.
If I can.
Yeah, oh, you got a lot. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
Because it is a concern of mine that I've brought up before.
Yep, and it's something that we did take this to the select board. The select board noted that abnormality and that did not align with the recent movement in terms of our reporting for our budget. So my understanding is they are going to update that. I did also speak with our council, and council said that, in essence, that these are a set of recommendations, and they do not necessarily have that authority over the school committee. They can request something of us, and we can say no. But my understanding is that that is not a finished document, and there are, I had noted, I think, 3 or 4 different things that I thought needed further attention. So unless you are aware of a final document, I have not seen one.
Well, they will be voting on this within the next month or two, and then it will be a final document. I would love to hear what our business manager has to say on this.
I didn't mean to take time. We can do it another time, but. I just want to point out the difference a couple of things. Most school districts spend the time after the December break for the school committee to really review the budget. That's most common schedule. And it's, delivered to the town. The public hearings usually, with my last district, it was in April. The public hearings are usually probably around April 15th, April 1st, or end of March, even on the early side. The difference, and I will point out just for everybody's sake too, it's obvious when you think about it, but the town departments are 12-month departments. They have time, and a lot of their stuff is recurring, like a library or, fire department. So they have their increases, and they have time through the summer months to really put their budget together. We can't even start until school is back in session because we need our department heads, et cetera, that are all budget makers, to send out the templates after they get settled, first couple of weeks of school, send out the templates, do their vetting of everything that they need to do, get it back to us. That's just on the expense side, collate. But we also have turnover of positions, turnover of employees, which goes on through September, October. So to really, it's not really feasible to have a full budget in October to the school committee. What usually happens is maybe by the end of October at best, we say, here's what we think will be the staffing increase cost. And then we continue to work on it. So I would just, keep that in mind that we don't start even our process until September, where the rest of the town budgets are, they might start in July or August, or whenever they start. So, but again, as Dr. Baeta pointed out too, we're the only department that is subject or dependent on, depending on how you look at that, to what comes out in Chapter 70. Because no other department has, the town gets unrestricted government aid, which is a very small amount really, and they're basing it on what their projected revenues are and when they close out their year and send it into the DOR to get certified. So they have all that information sooner. We're really dependent on the state budget coming out and saying, what are we going to have for the Chapter 70. That does not mean, just for the public who might be watching, that does not mean that if that goes up, the school budget goes up. It's money to the town, of course, but about 50% of our budget is really paid with state funds. I'm just generalizing at 50%, but about 50% of it is from local taxpayer funds, 50% of it is from state funds. All the other budgets in town are strictly on taxpayer funds. There aren't really any government things. So we are different as a school district than in crafting our budget based on all those factors.
Real briefly, it's my understanding that this October date is not really a hard date, and that and Joe Emerson, your legal attorney for the schools, and I've had this discussion, but this is my 17th year as a superintendent, and there is no way that a school department could get anything done in October.
Agreed.
So, and as a former school committee member with a very independent streak myself, I would say, and I don't need to follow those rules. Now, that said, I would always want to play nice in the cookie jar, or in, what's it called? Not the cookie jar. Well, I'm actually starving right now, so I think that's why I said cookie jar. I think I'm hangry right now. That's why I said cookie jar instead of sandbox.
Get him a cookie.
Man, long day. So my apologies.
I know, we missed
so
our last
I mean,
meeting.
I always want to.
We have a lot.
Do the right thing. But there is no way that a school budget can be done realistically with real numbers until after House 1. And I would argue, recognizing that we don't even go to FinCom usually until sometime in March, that our budget could be easily done immediately after House 1 comes out, and then tweaked again after the conference committee comes out with their own budget. The House and the Senate come out with their own, which is usually an increase from the governor for education. So that would stop all of the anger in the sandbox, right? Because what it would do is now you know how much you have and you don't have in real numbers, and you can make an argument you need more money. Okay, you need more money, but you could also say, you know what, we know the town doesn't have more money, so we're going to have to live with what we have. It would be a true independence of the school committee and the select board and so forth. That's what I'm hoping happens in the future. I don't. I've literally gone through everything. I noted that date in my comments as well. I don't see a whole lot of other issues with that policy. However, clearly the town is attempting to provide you, the school committee, and me, the superintendent, some flexibility. At least they have this year without, and they did last year with a new vote, so.
No, this is very clear. I don't see any flexibility in here. I'm sorry to be disagreeable, but I just don't, and that is concerning to me, because the actual wording in here says including the draft school budget, like it names us in here.
And I think the intent that,
And it
that
says
that I
by
would have is that
November
I would make the recommendation that says that's not possible for us. And based on the practice we just started this year, it shouldn't even be December 31st.
I guess what I'm getting at is, I believe the school board should be sending definitive language to the select board before they vote this into policy that says, we can't do this. This is just completely unable. And to have them remove this from the policy so that you can't have them put us in a policy like this. That's why I asked if we could get this. Because I don't think we were going to get this. So I would like to see something from the school board saying, mm-mm.
I mean, I'm happy to put an email to the chair of the finance committee, the chair of the select board, noting this discussion, and then we really cannot have that date there, including the school department, because we're worried that although the current membership, the current town manager, the current school committee, and the current superintendent understand that this is what we're doing, that policy going forward could be seen by somebody new in the hot seat as well, no, it's a drop dead date. Or I would defer to the chair contacting the other chair, which I think is actually the best opportunity.
I can do that. I've already done it once, I can do it again.
I would actually like to see us maybe put a date in here that says, if there is no date in town charter, then we are going to put a policy in that town policies saying that we are going to have our date be January 15th. We can do that.
I would say within probably 7 to 10 days of House 1 being released. By then, I would have my item budget done anyways. I would just not, I would just need to have you have a vote, right? We would already be working on a public hearing. We'd be doing all of that. It's just, here's the actual real number, and that's when you actually take your vote.
If it's not in the town, and I know that you've mentioned changing the town charter, apparently now we don't have to change the town charter per the town
And again,
lawyer, so we can set in this policy now that this is what we want in this policy as a governing board, and this is the date that we will get this to you.
Okay. Will do.
So, well, can we say what date we think is a good date to have put in here? And I'd like to make that motion.
He said within 10 days of House 1 being released.
Is that how you want it?
Yeah. Because
Within-
you're under the guidance of when it gets released. Every 4 years, or every 4 or 8 years, if there's a new governor, it comes a little later. So that could be the year that you have to kind of he and har a little bit. But I would say House 1 is always a good date because the budget will be done by then. It's just a matter of, do the numbers line up or don't they line up? And if they don't, what are we taking out so that the numbers do line up? And then you would just be working facts with facts. So I believe within 10 days of how, I know that we could do it in less than 10 days, but you would have to call a school committee meeting and all of that, so you're giving everybody, so I'd say within House 1.
Yeah, so I'd like to make a motion that we have the chair or the superintendent,
It would be the chair.
have the chair submit a letter to the select board stating we would like a change in wording of the draft financial policies that provides for the operating budget for the school be delivered within 10 days of House 1 being released. Did I say that fast?
No, you got it.
You got it?
That timing seems tight to me, 10 days.
So what would happen is, because you have your real number, that real number
I'm
is.
sorry, we've got a motion on the table.
I'm sorry, yeah. Yep.
Do we have a second?
I second the motion.
Okay. Discussion?
I believe that could be met because we would be establishing our budget through December into January and have a line item budget already to you as a piece of information. Now the real numbers come in and now you know, do you have the money that's actually going to be operational or do you have a shortfall? And you're now taking a real vote on either having a budget or having a shortfall. You know what you have.
So the school committee meeting has to be between
You're-
House 1? Oh, sorry. Thanks. School committee meeting has to occur between House 1 and within 10 days.
Yes, so if it came out on, if it came out on a Wednesday, which is usually when it comes out, or Thursday morning, then the question is how prepared would we be for that Tuesday or the following
Yeah.
Tuesday? And
If we're meeting every 2 weeks or
it's
something
not a
like that.
problem. We would have to make sure that our calendar showed that we were working within those 10 days.
So I would say 15 days, that way we guarantee we're going to fall within that time.
The issue is you typically want to get you would want to get on the calendar of events with the finance committee no later than, you want to know that information by February. So that's the reason why I think 10 days can work.
Would you like to see it as 12 days? I'm willing to amend my motion.
I think 10 days is fine. I mean, 10 days is 10 days. It's 2 weeks, basically.
He says it works, I'm good.
I think it definitely could work, because we would, You're just asking to have real numbers when you take your vote, regardless if it's good or bad.
May I actually ask our superintendent-elect if it isn't
No,
too
not
much
at all.
to-
No,
I don't
no,
mean
no.
to be
She's
insulting, I just want to
no,
include
I
her
am
in
not
it
ins-
because
I
I
am not
know
insulted
that
at all.
she. So yes, I would love to just get your feedback on all of this because this is really going to be you.
Yeah, I mean, I trust Dr.
You're-
Bayeda's judgment. I trust Dr. Bayeda's judgment, and I would heed his advice. It's unreasonable to have a budget before. He did do a wonderful job this year in terms of providing you with information all along the way, so you kind of knew where your budget was heading before you actually had the budget in hand to vote on it. I would like to mimic that process going forward, and so I think the 10 days is enough time.
Works for you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You bet.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you all.
Okay, I just have a few quick informational updates. The first one is around school committee communications as an agenda item. At our last meeting, questions were raised about that agenda item and how the agenda items falling under this category should be approached during meetings. For example, should they go solely through the chair, or should any school committee member be able to bring communications as part of that agenda item? So to start off, I'd like to remind our members that we have currently no school committee policies regarding the agenda format other than policy BEDB that states the superintendent and chair will arrange the order of items on meeting agendas so the committee can accomplish its business as expeditiously as possible, and that the order may vary from meeting to meeting in keeping with the business at hand. That's as detailed as our policies get. The specific agenda items actually stem from the school committee's regulations that are grouped into 2 articles that are attached to, but not in the town charter. So that is where this comes from. It's something that was established in 1965. So in speaking with MASC around this, we've been informed that reading communications that are not listed in the agenda is a direct violation of open meeting law, and it impacts the entire school committee, not just the member who's bringing that communication forward. I was also informed that most school committees have done away with this as an agenda item. It is outdated. It's something that the secretary used to do as part of the secretarial functions. And so it is his recommendation that we consider doing the same. So I wanted to raise that to you. These amendments, the amendments that are part of or attached to the school charter, or the town charter, sorry, hangry and tired, are often inconsistent with state law, and as legal, our legal advisor advised us last summer, we could review, revise, or simply rescind those. So I just wanted to put that out. This is informational at the time being. I would like to invite a discussion at our next meeting to determine what the school committee would like to do, but I'd like to give you time to think about it and prepare.
I actually have a comment on that.
Yes, Ms. Powers.
So what, I'm sorry, you had said a policy. What policy?
B.
BEDB, agenda format. And that says, the committee will follow the order of business established by the agenda, except that it votes to rearrange it in order for convenience. Where are you reading from? Which part of this agenda format?
So superintendent and chair will arrange the order of items on meeting agendas so the committee can accomplish its business as expeditiously as possible. Can you see it?
So that says a order of items, not the agenda itself.
But communications is not listed specifically in that as being a required agenda item. That was the point.
Except that it is in file right next to it. BEDD, Rules of Order, and it says that Robert's Rules of Order newly revised will govern the proceedings of the committee unless we decide as a committee to change that. And in Robert's Rules of Order, it has an agenda. And in that agenda, it has correspondence / communications, different committees put it in as different things. So communications is actually in there. Now, we don't have, if you want to say that, we don't have communications where the school committee members can say, listen, I just got this communication, or I just have this. We don't have other matters. That got taken out of it also. So there was a time when there were school committee members that were way more experienced than me, a combined 15 years experience, that they had other matters. And other matters allowed other committee members to say, hey, I have something that I would like to bring to the committee and bring it up. We don't have that. And that's what, at least something in here, whether it's new business, whether it's correspondence, whether it's other matters, something that allows so that if we have something we want to bring up, it can be brought up. Now, I had contracted services I wanted to bring up. We had a disagreement on what could be put in the agenda, and it wasn't put on the agenda. So at least with other matters, I can say, well, can we talk about contracted services? And maybe the other committee members would say, yeah, I want to talk to them, considering that Dr. Bayetta gave us a copy of them. So that would, so all I'm saying is when we do these things, I feel the chair may be falling into the hole of master of the committee, not the servant. And MASC, when they came in and gave their PD, said the chair should be the servant of the committee, not the master. And I just want to make sure that we all get heard.
Completely understand that, and I appreciate you pointing out policy BEDD. That escaped my notice when I did a search of the policies for agenda items. But once again, it is MASC's recommendation that we do away with communications as an agenda item because it can invite us to be in noncompliance with open meeting law, especially if an agenda item is discussed that was not actively listed out on the agenda.
I would like to see that correspondence.
It was a phone conversation, but if you
Ask them to put it in writing.
So I recommend that you reach out to Sean Costello, who is our field representative for MASC, and ask him that question.
Yeah, because I wouldn't just take someone's word for it. I would want to see where they say that. Sean, you want me to reach out to ask him about your conversation?
You are the one that has a question regarding that, so I recommend
No,
you have
you
a-
made it as an agenda item to talk about it.
Right. This
And
is
you
simply
said that you're
informational.
working, I'm sorry, I was still talking. So you said that this is a discussion, MASC agenda guidance for communications. You said that you spoke to someone from the MASC that gave you guidance. I'm saying I don't see that. And you said that it was a phone conversation. So all I'm saying is now I need to, you're directing me that what I should do, if I have a question, is to contact Sean Costello to get it in writing, what your phone conversation was.
No, I was simply saying if you had a question specific about his recommendation, that you should have a
I
conversation
don't have his
with him.
recommendation. I don't have it. Where is it? I don't see his recommendation.
I am conveying it to you.
No. No, he would need to put that from somewhere. And if we're going to do that, then it should be a vote of the committee to change the rules that we govern by. So, okay, well, we said we were going to govern by Robert's rules, and in Robert's rules, it gives an agenda, so that, I'm just saying, the committee votes on these things, not one person.
So if I can finish what I was saying.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So as the chair of this session, all comments should be going through the chair. And one thing I do need to say is that I am really tired of the phrase, I hate to interrupt you, but. So if you have something or a comment that you want to say, please address it through the chair so that we can move this meeting as efficiently as possible. The second thing I would like to say
What does
is
that have
that
to do with what we were talking
you are
about?
interrupting again. Please let me finish.
You're off topic.
No, I am not. The communications was following up on a request that came from you on whether or not school committee members could bring up communications under that agenda item.
What does that have to do with what you just said, though? That's two different things.
No, it is not.
You said I'm not going through the chair. That has nothing to do with communications.
Point of order, I am simply saying that this is something that is a pattern that I have noticed, has been very apparent tonight, and is very challenging for me to keep our business moving forward when there are interruptions. And I know how much you do not like being interrupted. That goes the same for the rest of us. So I just ask you for that same courtesy back. And if you find yourself saying that you do not mean to interrupt, but that means you're interrupting.
And all I'm saying,
To finish my first point around the communications, I am simply reporting back to you on what you had asked me to find out. I'm not requesting any action whatsoever. I am simply conveying what MASC's recommendation was to do away with that as an agenda item. So this was simply informational, which is what I stated up top. Can I continue?
no. This is a discussion item on the agenda.
It
says discussion.
Sorry, it does not say that on my copy.
School committee updates, school committee communications, Chris, discussion.
Okay.
MASC
You are
agenda
correct.
guidance.
Yep. Okay.
So if you wanted to talk about what's on the agenda is the MASC agenda guidance that I asked for. You got guidance, but I don't have anything in front of me to show that you got the guidance. I don't have
You're calling
anything
her a
that
liar?
says it.
Ms. Powers, you're calling Chris a liar.
Point of
That-
order.
I'm sorry,
I don't-
that's what I'm hearing. You're calling somebody a liar here
No,
at the
I am
table.
saying that I wanted to
She spoke
see
to the
it.
man, and so not everything has to be an email. Sometimes it's a phone call. This is getting ridiculous. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous. The argument going on here is ridiculous.
Because things have a certain order of way they're supposed to do things. If you want me to go
Sometimes
through the
change
chair,
happens,
I wasn't
Karen.
done, Jen. That's fine. But there's a certain order of things that go in here. And you seem to want to be able to have it your way, but not want to reciprocate. And I don't appreciate that either. So the agenda guidance, you want me to call, this is what you said, call Sean Costello to find out what he said in your phone conversation. And I said, I will find that out. It didn't say anything in here about me interrupting people. And everyone's been interrupting everyone here tonight. And when people go back and they review this tape, that's what they're going to see. Not just me, I know you want to just point at me, because I ask difficult questions, and that gets me in the hot seat. I understand that. I'm not here to be anyone's friend. I'm here to do the business of the people, and so I ask difficult questions. And I ask that things be done in a way that all of us have a voice. My voice is different from everybody else's. I have a constituency that I speak to that ask me to ask about some things for clarification. It's not always popular.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
From the last school committee, when we had Catherine as our chair, it was always a rule, if not a policy, that all communication goes through the chair, and then we speak as one voice through the chair. Most often, when the communication goes through the chair, it's then deferred to the appropriate department, because the school committee doesn't handle so many different things. I'm assuming at some point, there seems to be disagreement that as to have we done this before, or is there a change needs to be done? it's easy enough to give Catherine, former chair, a call and ask her what we did all that time. And I'm sure she will say all communication goes through the chair, and then the chair decides how to dispense it. If there's a change, we should make a motion and make that change. Otherwise, I would recommend that we continue to have all communications go through the chair, and then the chair would dispense it.
So if you don't even have to call Ms. Catherine Weiss, all you have to do is go to school committee meeting January 10th, 23, and look at an hour, 17 and 20 seconds in. And you will see that our most experienced school committee members allowed for other matters and communications. And the leadership was phenomenal. They say, does anyone have anything, other matters? Anyone have any communication? Some people would say, yes, I have a communication, but I'll talk to you about it later because I trust that you'll give me solid answers. Not that you're going to lie, but that I trust you. That's all. And so you can January 10th, 2023, 1 hour, 17 minutes, 20 seconds in. And you can find that in there. And that's not that long ago. And they were a very experienced, together, 15 years of school committee experience.
Who had 15 years, I'm sorry? Catherine?
The combined leadership at that time.
Who was the leadership at that time, please?
It was Ms. Sandra Gropey and Ms. Katie Pina Enochian. And they combined have 15 years' experience. And they were phenomenal leaders. They did a great job. They were the originators of the homeschool policy. They were terrific, and they got us through some hard times. And that's the way that they did it, too. And it worked out very well. There was none of this.
My comments was related to the chair that when I came onto the committee, and that was Catherine. That's the way we did things. All communications went through the chair under Catherine. I was not here for Sandra, and I was not here for the previous chair, so I cannot speak to that. But I can speak to our process under Catherine, which, of course, that's when you came in also. And it was all communication goes through the chairs. We can go back many chairs beyond them and see what they did also, or many chairs beyond them to see what they did, and on and on. But I'm speaking since we've had Catherine, and all of us were under Catherine as the chair at the time. So something has changed as far as communication since we were under the chair of Catherine.
Yeah, under Catherine, she had communications or correspondence. That was part of the agenda. The agenda only got changed this last April. That's when there certainly was never this preferred motion telling us which way they prefer us to put a motion in. That wasn't in there. A lot of things, the times, everything on that agenda got changed from this year on. So what I'm saying is, I don't know what she's talking about with interrupting people, and that's happening all over the place in here. What I'm saying is, I'm going to give Sean Costello a call, but you asked for a certain spot where someone said, oh, well, we didn't do this before. We did do this before, and we did do it under Catherine Weiss. So all I'm saying is when we do these things, we should all be in agreement. It shouldn't just be foisted on the group as one person decides.
So no one has decided anything, and that's why it's informational and being brought to the group.
And if there's a change, perhaps someone has made that decision to change it from the communication going through the chair. Then that's where the change is. And no one else had that opportunity to discuss that change. It just seemed to happen.
If it doesn't go through the chair, that's fine, but it still needs to be listed on the agenda.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's an open meeting law violation.
It was an open agenda item. That's what made it not an open meeting law violation. Communications. And a trust.
I will go back to our lawyer again and get more information on communications. Or, Ms. Powers, if I'm hearing you correctly, are you missing an agenda item around other matters? Is that what this is really about, or? Because I want the agenda to work for the full committee.
Now, yeah. I will, in order to painfully end this conversation at this point, I am willing to contact Sean Costello, like you indicated, by email and get his conversation with you and his take on the agenda and on communications there. He apparently said something to you that I can get some information, some guidance on.
Okay. My apologies to the committee and to Ms. Powers. And if we can finish out this meeting, I am wondering at this point, as we are closing in on 10 o'clock, I would like to, the only thing that's really pressing in the rest of mine is that the South Leaders or Readers, they have made a request, and I just wanted to double check and see if our liaisons would be representing at that. Okay, perfect. And the rest is not time sensitive, and I can put them on the next meeting agenda if that is okay with everyone.
Do you make a movement to, trying to think of the word, can't think of it right now. Table.
Table?
Yes. Make a movement to table the next three under the school committee updates, the Massachusetts Conflict of Interest Training, SEOC bylaw approval, and 2025 annual report.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Roll call vote.
Aye.
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 Aye. Moving on to financials.
So in your packet, you had the quarterly report for the second quarter of this fiscal year. That was extended through January 31st. I made that note on that. As we moved, had to do a lot of journal entries between the shelter funds and different things to get the figures accurate where we stand right now. The memo basically states, as you know, we had different funding challenges this year. It states in there that we have fully expended the shelter funds as we had anticipated. We have used about $548,000 of the current year SPED IDEA grant, which we always had one whole year to roll, and so we will not have a full year going forward. I'm just going to fly through and then let you ask questions if that's okay, because I know you're pressed for time. We, as again, I put in here before and we talked about over the whole last year, these are one-year fixes. I mean, these monies will not be available in future years once we use the rolled money forward. We anticipate that we will probably end up dipping into the current year circuit breaker this year. That remains to be seen. I will add with the budget freeze that most of the expense budgets were pretty much fully expended before the freeze. So again, echoing Dr. Baeta, that really no one's going without. So that's not really going to, it's not in place really to have a savings this year necessarily. And it was to sort of slow things down so we could put together some numbers. So I mentioned a number of things in here, mostly special education. We're over budget, $790,000 in SPED contracted services. We're over $130,000 in homeless transportation, and several other areas, and particularly in SPED. The shelter funds, as you recall, we budgeted $527,000 of shelter funds as a budget offset for this year, so that wasn't really extra money when we had the shelter funds. That was already spoken for, and the rest of the payment, the last payment that came in last August, is what we used. I know I'm reading back what's already in here for all of you, but if anybody's listening at home, that's why I'm just adding a little bit. We did have, as Dr. Maeda mentioned, throughout the year, we had increased enrollment come in over the summer, so we added 3 kindergarten teachers and a 4th grade teacher and 1 K-8, I believe. We were able to sort of crawl out of that problem because we had the shelter funds. We renewed some expensive curriculum, was on a 6-year cycle, and we all had to furnish the rooms with iPads and furniture, et cetera. So we fortunately had that last payment of shelter funds and used that all for those purposes. We didn't have the opportunity to have that last payment for other desired things because those needs came up, but we were fortunate that we had them to take care of that. That's essentially most of what the text is. Last thing is we're running a deficit in the unemployment line already. We'll probably be going another 100 to 125,000 in the hole on that before the end of the year. Most of our salaries have been encumbered, but as I say every year, there are a number of things we cannot encumber that is pay-as-you-go, overtime. The spring coaches, of course, aren't in yet because we haven't hired them. Substitutes for the second half of the year, and substitutes, that's a pretty big expense. So that's not reflected in the numbers in the grid. So I just always point that out. There's still more to go. Lastly, again, we've talked about grants today. I'll just run down it real quick for the people at home. Our staff do apply for a lot of grants. Some of them are very small, $5,000 grants, and we also have, of course, our DESE grants. The smaller grants, well, all of the grants essentially they're not there to help our budget. So while the people might hear that we got this grant for this amount of money, whatever else, it's supplement, not supplant. So those are for additional expenses beyond what our budget has historically paid for, and if you've ever paid for it out of the budget, you can't then suddenly start putting it to the grant. That's essentially what that means. If you've always paid for it out of the budget, then the town is expected to always fund those services out of the budget. So that's essentially it, but they are very busy with all the different other types of grants for the Cultural Commission and other places. So I do want the public to know that a lot of the enrichment type of things or extras that we're able to do is our staff really taking that initiative and writing grants large and small to supplement what we can offer our students and for the school district. So I know that was very fast in the interest of time, but if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions? Thank you so much for that update. We really appreciate it. No. We appreciate it. We appreciate the memo. So thank you. Annual town meeting warrant summary chart.
Yeah, the next 3 bullets, annual town meeting, 5-year capital plan, and Chapter 70, in some cases, have already been addressed tonight. So that information has also changed. If you recall, I sent you an email yesterday with the latest update of the signed town warrant with the special within the annual. I sent that to you yesterday via email. So some of the stuff that's in here has already been updated. There's still a lot of TBDs because we're still going through the process, both on the town side and the school side, and where's the article money coming from, and where's that coming from, and so on. So there's still a lot of TBDs that you'll see on yours as well. And then we have the Chapter 70 profile that I provided to you as well. And then there was some information that Ms. Powers had asked for that I put into a packet. That's all in here. And as updated as I could get it, and if there's more updates that are needed or more information, please reach out. We're happy to work to address it. I will tell you that we are currently under some, we've got 2 brand new people in the business office coming in. So that's causing a lot of other folks to support and help out and so on and so forth, but that's happening, and we're hoping to be running up. So that's the general gist, everything. I tried to provide everything that Ms. Powers requested to the entire committee so that you would have it, and then at some point, if you want to bring it up under agenda item, we could do that as well. I'll defer.
Thank you for doing that, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any questions? Hearing none, warrants?
Submitted the list of warrants.
Microphone.
Thank you. Submitted the list of warrants that were reviewed and approved for the record.
All right, so noted. Thank you so much, Armando. All right, and then moving on to the approval of minutes. Are there any amendments to the December 9th open session meeting minutes? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the December 9th
To accept the minutes from December 9th,
as written?
as written.
All right, motion has been made by Jen Sears. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second has been Jillian. Motion has been moved and seconded. Roll call vote.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 5-0. Any amendments to the January 13th open session meeting minutes?
I make a motion to accept the January 13th minutes as written.
Motion has been made by Jen Sears. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jillian. Motion has been moved and seconded. Roll call vote.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 5-0. Next regular meeting of the school committee is on Tuesday, February 24th, 2026 at 6 p.m. here at the district office. I do want to remind anyone who's still viewing that town elections or primary elections will be on February 17th, a week from today. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Early voting has started. Motion to adjourn.
Motion has been made by Ms. Powers. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Jillian. Roll call vote.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 5-0. We are adjourned at 9:55.